It's working now. Yeah, I just connected to the admin and now it's even now. But now it's okay. Alright. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. Open your books to page 74. مريم اقرأي سورة القدر.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. قال المؤلفون رحمه الله: أنزل الله القرآن إلى السماء الأولى في ليلة القدر ثم أنزله مفرقا على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في 23 سنة.
معاني الكلمات:
القدر الشرف، ليلة القدر ليلة الشرف، لأن القرآن الكريم نزل فيها. وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر؟ هذا السؤال بتعظيم ليلة القدر. الروح جبريل عليه السلام، مطلع الفجر، وقت ظهور الفجر. سلام هي ليلة سلام. الملائكة مخلوقات من نور يطيعون الله ولا يعصونه.
نعم، ولا يأسونه. المعنى كشان read.
No, I'm still finding the page.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. المعنى الكلمات القدر.
لا under المعنى.
أنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى القرآن في ليلة القدر التي هي ليلة
شرفي.
وسميت بذلك لنزول القرآن فيها. وما أعلمك بتلك الليلة؟ فقد جعل الله العبادة فيها أفضل من عبادة ألف شهر في غيرها
في غيرها
في غيرها وتمتد
وتمتد
تلك الليلة حتى وقت ظهور الفجر وهي ليلة السلام
وهي ليلة سلام
ينزل فيها جبريل عليه السلام مع الملائكة للسلام على المؤمنين الذين
يعبدون الله فيها
يعبدون الله.
Maz, اقرأ page 74 at the bottom. أنزل الله القرآن إلى السماء. No, 74 at the bottom.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنزل الله القرآن إلى السماء الأولى في ليلة القدر ثم أنزله مفرقا على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في 23 سنة.
Ramsha, translate what you just read.
Allah sent down the Quran to the first heaven in the night of Qadr. Then he sent it down in pieces to the Prophet in 30 years.
How many years?
30 days.
30 days? 30 years? What? 23 سنة. نعم. ثم أنزله مفرقا على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في 23 سنة. Then he sent it down in pieces or scattered upon the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم over a period of 23 years. Maz, read معاني الكلمات.
مفرقا is scattered.
Scattered or in pieces.
Okay.
Or like divided over, scattered, dispersed.
معاني الكلمات القدر
الشرف. Mona, what does الشرف mean? Honor. Go ahead, read the next one.
ليلة القدر ليلة الشرف لأن القرآن الكريم نزل فيها.
No. Mona, translate what he just read. So honor, dignity, like high rank, nobility, sharaf. Go ahead.
So like the honorable night because the Quran was revealed.
No. So we said sharaf once again. Honor, dignity, high rank, glory. لأن القرآن نزل فيها, because the noble Quran was set down in it.
So sent down or
revealed in it. Or came down in it. نزل فيها. It came down in it. نزل فيها, came down in it. As opposed to on page 74, which is أنزل الله القرآن. Allah sent down, or Allah revealed, sent down the Quran. Go ahead, Hamza, the next one. وما أدراك
ما ليلة القدر. هذا السؤال لتعظيم ليلة القدر.
هذا السؤال لتعظيم ليلة القدر. ما معنى هذا?
This is a question to show the majesty of the night of Qadr.
Yeah, this is a question to show the majesty, to show the greatness of the night of Qadr. The next one. Go ahead, Hamza.
الروح جبريل عليه السلام.
الروح is referring to Jibreel alayhi salam. Kashan, the next one.
مطلع الفجر.
مطلع الفجر. Read what it says next to it.
وقت ظهور الفجر.
وقت ظهور الفجر, which means
the time of the beginning of Fajr.
Yeah, the time of the appearance of Fajr. Shayan, Salamun hi.
Salamun hiya Laylatul Salam. It is the night of peace.
Peace, protection, safety. The next one as well, Shayan.
الملائكة مخلوقات من نور يطيعون الله ولا يعصونه. So the angels are creation or being from light, who follow Allah,
who obey Allah.
obey Allah and do not disobey Him.
No, who obey Allah and do not disobey Him. Al-ma'na at the bottom. Read Maz.
أنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى القرآن في ليلة القدر القرآن في ليلة القدر التي هي ليلة الشرف وسميت بذلك لنزول القرآن فيها وما أعلمك بتلك الليلة فقد جعل الله العبادة فيها أفضل من عبادة ألف شهر في غيرها وتمتد تلك الليلة حتى وقت ظهور الفجر وهي ليلة السلام ينزل فيها جبريل عليه السلام مع الملائكة للسلام وعلى المؤمنين.
There's no
على المؤمنين الذين يعبدون الله فيها.
No. Ramsha, read it. Shayan, translate as she reads.
أنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى القرآن في ليلة القدر.
So Allah the Most High revealed the Quran on the night of honor, the one that it is the night of honor.
وسميت بذلك لنزول القرآن فيها.
And it was
It was called that or named that.
So it was called that because of the revelation of the Quran in it.
No.
وما أعلمك بتلك الليلة.
And he does it is not known.
No, ma is over here. Istifham. Maryam.
Oh.
وما أعلمك بتلك الليلة.
And what do you know about that night?
What will وما أعلمك بتلك الليلة, like what will inform you about that night, or what will like give you knowledge about that night?
فقد جعل الله العبادة فيها أفضل من عبادة ألف شهر.
في غيرها.
Certainly Allah made a worship in it.
Made worship in it.
Made worship in it. That is more
better or greater, more virtuous.
More virtuous than the worship of 1,000 months.
In other than it.
In other than it.
وتمتد تلك الليلة حتى وقت ظهور الفجر.
وتمتد, this night extends, or it lasts until.
So it extends or lasts until this night or that night extends until the time of the appearance of Fajr.
No.
وهي ليلة سلام.
And it is a night of peace.
Or a night of safety and security.
ينزل فيها جبريل عليه السلام مع الملائكة للسلام على المؤمنين الذين يعبدون الله فيها.
And Jibreel comes down in it with the angels to secure safety for the believers, the ones that worship Allah during it.
نعم. مريم اقرأي المعنى.
المعنى أنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى القرآن في ليلة القدر التي هي ليلة الشرف.
Hamza, translate what she read.
Allah, the Most Perfect and Most High, revealed the Quran in Laylatul Qadr, and this is a night of honor.
The one that is a night of honor and dignity and high rank. Go ahead.
وسميت بذلك لنزول القرآن فيها.
And it's called this because it is the night that the Quran was revealed.
No.
وما أعلمك بتلك الليلة.
And what will inform us of this night?
فقد جعل الله العبادة فيها أفضل من عبادة ألف شهر.
من عبادة
ألف شهر في غيرها.
Allah has surely made worship in this night better than the worship of 1,000 nights and other than it.
وتمتد تلك الليلة حتى وقت ظهور الفجر.
And this night lasts until the appearance of dawn.
وهي ليلة سلام.
And it's a night of safety and security.
ينزل فيها جبريل عليه السلام مع الملائكة للسلام على المؤمنين الذين يعبدون الله فيها.
Jibreel alayhi salam comes down with the angels with security and safety upon the believers worshipping Allah in that night.
The ones that worship Allah.
The ones that worship Allah in that night.
Turn the page 76. Quickly go through this. It says Al-Qadr, ma adraka ma laylatul qadr. So it gives you the word and you just kind of replace it. Hamza, do number 1.
ما أدراك ما ليلة الشرف.
ما أدراك ما ليلة الشرف. أدراك بمعنى ما أعلمك. ما أدراك ما أعلمك. Like what will inform you. The next one. Kashan.
الجمعة ما أدراك ما ليلة الجمعة.
جمعة.
الجمعة
ما أدراك ما ليلة الجمعة. ما هي ليلة الجمعة في لغتنا؟ ما هي ليلة الجمعة في لغتنا؟
Night of gathering.
Thursday night. Number 3. رمشة.
ما أدراك ما ليلة السبت.
نعم. وليلة السبت في لغتنا هي Friday night. Thank you. والأخير ما أدراك ما ليلة الخير. التدريب الثاني املأ الفراغ بالكلمة المناسبة. Number 1, Maryam.
الشرق مطلع شرق
means الشرق. No, what does الشرق mean?
Daybreak. Or sunrise.
Or anything else?
The east.
Thank you. There we go. The east.
الشرق مطلع الشمس.
نعم. One more time.
الشرق مطلع الشمس.
الشرق مطلع الشمس. الشرق مطلع الشمس. What does that mean? Mona, what does that mean?
The east is the rising place of the sun.
No. The east is the rising place of the sun. الشرق مطلع الشمس. The east is the rising place of the sun. فهمتم?
The Matlau is rising place.
Yeah. Number two, Hamza.
الخميس القادم مطلع So this is saying
This means matla'u over here, the commencement of or the beginning of. Matla'u over here.
الشهر.
نعم. الخميس القادم مطلع الشهر. الخميس القادم مطلع الشهر. So over here, الخميس القادم, Hamza would mean?
Saying the last third.
It's one of the days. Yeah, Najib?
Thursday.
Huh?
Thursday.
But الخميس القادم,
The first Thursday? Coming Thursday.
the coming Thursday. الخميس القادم, العام القادم, that which is coming, from قديمة. قديمة, to come. So that which is coming, اسم الفاعل. الخميس القادم, the coming Thursday is مطلع الشهر, the beginning or the commencement of the month. فهمتم? Yes? No?
Yeah.
No.
Beginning is Commencement is at the end and the beginning is do something new, right?
Huh?
Is commencement at the beginning or is it the end?
No, it's the beginning.
Like the commencement ceremony is like at the end of graduation
Yeah, but it's like the beginning of
of the rest of the life.
Or
ceremony.
the next.
Yeah. Right, isn't there a commencement speech that happens at the beginning?
Beginning, yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Right? Yeah, commencement means beginning. Look it up.
Those commence. Just begin. Yeah, sounds right.
Mashallah.
It's not down.
We're all waiting for you.
Beginning.
Beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Preface, introduction, starting point. Okay, number 3, Najib.
يحين وقت صلاة الصبح عند ظهور الفجر.
يحين وقت صلاة الصبح عند ظهور الفجر. What does that mean?
This the same time.
No.
The time of the morning salah is the appearance of the Fajr, the daybreak, the dawn.
Close. يحين وقت صلاة الصبح عند ظهور الفجر. يا منى. What does it mean?
The time of the morning prayer ends when the sun rises, or when the Fajr time is like apparent.
Is the time of the morning prayer starts or arrives on the appearance of
Done.
dawn?
نعم. حان يحين. So to approach or to come, right? So basically the time وقت صلاة الصبح, the time of the morning prayer. حان يحين, to come or approaches. عند ظهور الفجر, at the appearance of dawn. فهمتم?
So Salat al-Sufi is referring to
The morning prayer,
which
yeah.
is just Fajr.
Salat al-Fajr.
Okay.
Yeah. Where is it? Okay, once again, يحين وقت صلاة الصبح عند ظهور الفجر, that the time of the morning prayer, which is Salat al-Fajr, it comes عند ظهور الفجر, at the appearance of dawn. Number four. Najib.
من أعلمك بالخير.
What? Man?
بالخبر, sorry.
Long weekend for everybody. Like 30 years and خيري. من أعلمك بالخبر. من أعلمك بالخبر, which means what?
Who told you about the news?
نعم. من أعلمك بالخبر. من أخبرك بالخبر, who informed you, who told you about the news. Number 5. نعم Ramsha.
So in number 1 and 2, does matla
Different meanings. So matla' can have, it's one of those words that has numerous meanings, right? So in the first one it was the place of, right? And then number 2 is the onset or the beginning or the commencement. Number 5, Maz.
Thank you. سميت ليلة القدر في ليلة الشهر لأن القرآن نزل.
Why did you thank me? At the beginning.
Wait, am I wrong?
No, but why did you thank me at the beginning? Because I gave you the easiest one and you got it wrong.
I got it wrong. Wait, sorry.
There was only one option and you got it wrong.
No,
we did the impossible.
It's Sharafi, my bad.
La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah.
My bad. That was an alley-oop.
It's like when you know the athletes they celebrate before they score. And then they dropped the ball right before they hit the end zone. That's what he did.
It's Sharafi, my bad. Sorry, I thought someone else used Sharafi in the beginning, and then I was just like, that can't be right.
You just closed your eyes and started walking. سميت ليلة القدر بليلة الشرف لأن القرآن نزل فيها. He didn't even finish the whole thing. نزل فيها. He missed the last word. سميت ليلة القدر بليلة الشرف لأن القرآن نزل فيها. That it was called the night of Sharaf, or it was called the night of Qadr. The night of Qadr is called, there we go. The night of Qadr is called Laylatul Sharaf, the night of dignity, honor, high rank, importance. لأن القرآن نزل فيها, because the Quran came down in it.
So what does Shahri mean?
Month. And that was used in number 2. التدريب الثالث رتب الكلمات في كل سطر لتصير جملة مفيدة وابدأ بما تحته خط. رتب. What does رتب mean, يا حمزة?
Make or form?
No. Ramsha, what does رتب mean?
To order.
Huh?
To order.
Arrange.
Arrange.
Arrange. رتب الكلمات. Arrange. Organize the words. في كل سطر. What's سطر mean? Kashan?
You know all the choices? Line.
Shayan. Line. لتصير جملة مفيدة, so it can make a beneficial sentence. وابدأ, and begin بما تحته خط, by that which has تحته خط, a line under it. يا مريم, what's the إعراب of الكلمات? رتب الكلمات في كل سطر لتصير جملة مفيدة. What's the إعراب of الكلمات?
فاعل مرفوع. No, فاعل نائب فاعل
الفاعل
منصوب بالكسرة لأنه جمع مؤنث سالم.
Who agrees with her? Could you repeat what you said?
And this is for al-kalimati.
No. Could you repeat what you said?
الكلمات نائب فاعل نائب فاعل مرفوع, right? Oh, that's not right.
No?
I don't know.
Hamza?
مفعول به منصوب بالكسرة.
That's it?
Yes. أو لأنه جمع مؤنث السالم.
نعم. مفعول به منصوب بالكسرة لأنه جمع المؤنث السالم. رتب, arrange, organize what? Organize the words, right? Organize the words. والفاعل هنا ما هو؟ والفاعل منى
والفاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره أنت.
نعم. والفاعل هنا ضمير مستتر, a hidden pronoun. تقديره, what's implied by it is أنت. رتب أنت. Okay.
Can you say that part again?
The مفعول part or the فاعل part?
The fa'il ضمير مستتر.
So the fa'il is ضمير, it's a pronoun. مستتر, that's hidden or even implied. تقديره, what is intended by it is أنت. So والفاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره أنت.
Why is it anta?
Because it's like if I told you كل, eat.
Is this a
Yeah.
Okay.
رتب. ووضعت الكسرة لالتقاء الساكنين. Number 1, يا حمزة.
تنزل علي من أعلى الجبل
نعم مرة أخرى
تنزل علي
whoa.
تنزل علي من أعلى الجبل.
That's not what you said, right? The second time you said تنزل.
Yeah, I think so.
تنزل علي من أعلى الجبل, which means
Ali descended from the tallest mountain.
no, not from the من أعلى الجبل, from the highest part of the mountain,
okay.
not from the highest mountain. But تنزل علي من أعلى الجبل, that Ali came down from the highest part of the mountain. They're showing you how different words work over here. Okay, number two, yeah, Muna.
تنزل خالد في البئر.
تنزل خالد في البئر. What does this mean?
Khalid goes down to the wall.
Yeah, over here تنزل means he went down. تنزل خالد في البئر, that Khalid went down into the well. Let's see. The next one, Mujib.
تتنزل المياه تتنزل المياه من أعلى الجبال.
One more time.
تتنزل المياه من أعلى جبال.
No, you were right. Okay. تتنزل المياه من أعلى الجبال. What does that mean?
I don't know what مياه means.
It's the plural of ma'un.
The water came down from the top of the mountain.
لا. تتنزل المياه, the water comes down من أعلى الجبال, from the
Peaks of the mountain.
من أعلى الجبال.
Highest part of the mountain.
Yeah, the highest part of the peaks of the mountains. The peaks of the mountains, or the highest part of the mountains. Number 4. Yes.
So if you said من أعلى جبال, that would be from the highest mountain.
من أعلى جبال, from the highest.
Mountain.
No, it would still be plural. من highest mountains.
I think he's saying, sorry, like, how do you make al-jibali the sifa?
You're saying if you make it singular?
No, if you want to say like the water comes down from the highest mountain.
From the highest mountain.
Yeah.
من أعلى جبل, you would make it singular.
Okay.
Or من أعلى الجبل, the highest mountain. من أعلى الجبل. So you would make the jibal, you would make it singular.
Isn't that, would it lose the alif now as well? Would it lose the alif?
Not necessarily. It would actually keep it because you're making it ma'rifah. It's the highest mountain. It's known. But min a'la al-jibali, from the highest mountains. From the highest mountains. Number 4, Maryam.
خلق الله الخلق.
Which means?
Allah created all creation.
Yeah, Allah created all of the creation. Number 5, Muna.
أنزل الله القرآن في ليلة القدر تشريفا لها.
نعم أنزل الله القرآن في ليلة القدر تشريفا لها. أنزل الله القرآن في ليلة القدر تشريفا لها. What does it mean?
Allah sent down the Quran ليلة القدر as a way of honoring.
نعم, as a way of honoring it. Allah sent down the Quran in the night of Qadr as a way of honoring it. Number 6. Shayan.
تتنزل الملائكة والروح في ليلة القدر.
نعم تتنزل الملائكة والروح في ليلة القدر, that the ruh, which is referring to Jibreel alayhi salam, and the angels, they come down in Laylatul Qadr.
Sheikh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you say the transition of the highest mountain was?
The highest mountain? The highest mountain would be أعلى الجبل or أعلى جبال. أعلى جبل.
أعلى جبل or أعلى الجبال?
No, not أعلى الجبال.
Oh, just أعلى جبل.
No.
When is that what does that do? It just makes it known which mountain you're talking about. And then when there's a min, it makes it the highest part of the mountain.
When it makes it?
The high.
The
when
min?
there's min before
Yeah.
ala, then it becomes the highest part of the mountain.
Yeah, from the highest part.
Yeah.
But it can also be like from the highest mountain. Even min, say min a'la jabalin, from the highest mountain. Right? Min a'la jabalin, from the highest mountain. Min a'la jibalin, from the highest mountains. Right? But min a'la al-jabali, from like the highest parts of the mountain.
And then min a'la al-jibal is the highest part of the mountain.
The highest part of the mountains. Min a'la al-jibal.
Oh, so jabal. Min a'la al-jabal is the highest part.
Min a'la al-jabali, yes, from the highest part of the mountain. Like as in number 1. Tanazzala aliyun min a'la al-jabali. Right, like from the highest part of the mountain.
Is it because it becomes an idafa when you put an al?
I mean, it's even it can be an idafa without the alif,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't need the al to be part. Now, generally, the majority of idafas have the second word is ma'rifa, but it's not, right? It's not necessary, right? Like he used in ma'ani al-kalimat laylatu salamin, right? Salamun he said hiya laylatu salamin, laylatu salamin, right? It's not, right? Like laylatu salamin would be a night of safety and security, as opposed to laylatu salam, it's the night of safety. Number 7, there's one more on page 78 on the back. Number 7, Maz.
الملائكة لا يعصون الله
Should be لا يعصون الله. الملائكة لا يعصون الله. The angels, they do not disobey Allah. انتهينا من هذا. Okay. No.
So are we translating qadr here as honor or honored?
So we said honor, dignity, high rank, nobility, importance. Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله. كنا نقرأ من تفسير الإمام القرطبي المسمى الجامع لأحكام القرآن الكريم، ووقفنا عند قول الله تعالى: كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى. منى اقرأي.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. قال المؤلف رحمه الله: قوله تعالى: كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى إلى آخر السورة.
أولا ترجمي كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى.
Surely the human transgresses when he sees himself as self-sufficient.
نعم. قوله تعالى
قوله تعالى كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى إلى آخر السورة قيل إنه نزل في أبي جهل وقيل نزلت السورة كلها في أبي جهل نهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
الخطأ نهى النبي
نهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الصلاة فأمر الله نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يصلي في المسجد ويقرأ باسم الرب.
نعم. ترجمي قوله تعالى.
His word, the Most High,
His statement.
His statement. Surely the human transgresses until the end of the surah. It has been said that it was revealed regarding Abu Jahl, and it has been said that the surah, the whole surah came down regarding Abu Jahl, who prevented the Prophet ﷺ from praying. So Allah
Prohibited
the Prophet from praying. So Allah ordered His Prophet ﷺ to pray in the masjid and recite with the name of His Lord.
نعم. Continue. وعلى
هذا فليست السورة من أوائل ما نزل.
Translate.
And upon this, with this.
يعني لو أخذنا هذا الرأي الثاني أن السورة كلها نزلت في أبي جهل، يعني على هذا الرأي فليست السورة من أوائل ما نزل.
So like if we take this position, then the surah is not from the first to be revealed.
نعم. نعم.
ويجوز أن يكون خمس آيات من أولها أول ما نزلت، ثم نزلت البقية في شأن أبي جهل وأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بضم ذلك إلى أول السورة لأن تأليف السور جرى بأمر من الله. ألا ترى أن قوله تعالى واتقوا يوما ترجعون فيه إلى الله آخر ما نزل ثم هو مضمون إلى ما نزل قبله بزمان طويل.
Okay, go ahead. Translate. ويجوز أن يكون.
And it's possible.
No.
And it's possible that like the first 5 ayahs from it were the first that were revealed.
No.
Then the rest were revealed in the matter of Abu Jahl.
No.
And the Prophet ﷺ was ordered, I don't know what means.
To join.
To join this, the beginning of the surah, because I don't know.
لأن تأليف السور you know what قال المؤلف مؤلف is the اسم الفاعل from the verb ألف and تأليف is the مصدر ألف يؤلف right والأمر منه ألف والفاعل مؤلف والمصدر منه تأليف لأن تأليف السور because the composition meaning the putting together of the surahs جرى بأمر من الله is a matter that took place that occurred بأمر من الله from a command from Allah. فهمتم? Took place, occurred from the command of Allah. Continue.
Don't you see that his statement and
واتقوا يوما ترجعون فيه إلى الله. Don't worry about translating. But okay, واتقوا يوما ترجعون فيه إلى الله, which means
and be aware, be ready for a day that you're going to return to Allah.
now be mindful, be afraid, be conscious of a day ترجعون فيه إلى الله in which that you will be returned to Allah. آخر ما نزل أكملي
is the last thing that was revealed, and then it is connected to what was revealed before it by a long time.
what did he mean?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's start. So first she began by translating كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى from the beginning. He says قيل إنه نزل في أبي جهل. You guys following? قيل إنه نزل في أبي جهل. It has been said that it was revealed in regards to Abu Jahl. وقيل, and it has been said نزلت السورة كلها في أبي جهل. It has been said that the entire surah was revealed regarding Abu Jahl. What's the difference between the two qilas, Maryam? Like, what's the two different opinions here?
One ayah was revealed.
Not one ayah, no. Hamza, what's the two different opinions here?
Kalla, from Kalla and anything to the end was revealed by Abu Jahl, and
That's the first opinion, right? And the second opinion is?
that the entire surah was revealed by Abu Jahl.
The entire surah was revealed regarding the whole incident of Abu Jahl, right? And he says, نهى النبي عن الصلاة. He prevented or prohibited the Prophet from praying. Now I said that's a khata because if you say نهى النبي, that means the Prophet himself prevented, right? So نهى النبي عن الصلاة. He prevented the Prophet from prayer. فأمر الله نبيه أن يصلي في المسجد ويقرأ باسم الرب. So Allah commanded His Prophet to pray in the masjid and to recite or to begin his recitation with the name of his Lord. وعلى هذا يعني وعلى القول الثاني. Upon the second opinion, فليست السورة من أوائل ما نزل. If we take the second opinion, then the surah does not become the first of that which was revealed. Because some of the scholars of tafsir, when they talk about the surah, they mention what was the first thing revealed. They mention different opinions. But the majority, after mentioning all these opinions, they usually say, okay, well, we'll just, submit and say Suratul Alaq was the first thing that was revealed. ويجوز, and then he says, and he finds a way out here, right? ويجوز أن يكون خمس آيات من أولها أول ما نزل. And it's possible that what the first thing to be revealed was the first 5 verses, right? ثم نزلت البقية في شأن أبي جهل. And then the rest was revealed regarding the matter or situation of Abu Jahl. وأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بضم ذلك إلى أول السورة. And then the Prophet ﷺ was commanded to take the second part of the surah and to connect it, to join it to the beginning of the surah. لأن تأليف السور جرى بأمر من الله. Because the construction, the composition of the surahs, it's a matter that occurred from the commandment of Allah. ألا ترى أن قوله تعالى. Don't you see that the statement of the Most High, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ, fear a day in which you will be returned in it to Allah. آخِرُ مَا نَزَلْ, which is a verse in Surah Al-Baqarah. He says, آخِرُ مَا نَزَلْ, it was the last thing to be revealed. ثُمَّ هُوَ مَضْمُومٌ إِلَى مَا نَزَلَ قَبْلَهُ بِزَمَانٍ طَوِيلٍ. And then it was joined to that which was revealed before it by a long time. Meaning that if you look at Surah Al-Baqarah and you look at this verse, and you look at where it was placed, the stuff that came before it was revealed a long time before it, yet it was something that was joined to it, right? Once again, he's trying to prove that, look, this happens, right? You have a part of a surah that's revealed, and then another part that comes down, and then basically the Prophet ﷺ places it in a specific location, right? So he says about this verse, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. It came down, it was the last thing that was revealed, and if you look at the placement, it's placed in a place where the stuff that came before it preceded it by a long time. Fahimtum?
It's agreed upon that was the last ayah revealed?
There's a few different opinions upon what was the last thing revealed. But this is a common opinion.
Is the last ayah revealed?
No.
In the entire,
In its entirety. Like the last ayah to be revealed. Yeah, right. But many of the Mufassirin, they choose this verse as the last verse that was revealed. No.
To summarize, some say that the whole surah was revealed during that situation, when that would negate the fact that people said this is.
It's an opinion. It's an opinion. The majority of Mufassirin say it's just the second part. كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى is what was revealed. Right? But yes, some say, but okay. Maryam, اقرأي وَكَلَّا بِمَعْنَى حَقًّا. First line towards the end. وَكَلَّا بِمَعْنَى حَقًّا. What does that mean, Maryam?
Surely the meaning is true. With the meaning is true.
Huh?
By the meaning is true.
What? Hamza?
And the use of kalla means like surely or
Yeah, the use of kalla, وَكَلَّا over here, meaning the usage of kalla بِمَعْنَى حَقًّا. It means for a fact, for reality, for sure. فهمتي؟ continue أكملي.
إذ ليس قبله شيء.
إذ ليس قبله شيء. يا مريم إذ ليس قبله شيء ما إعراب شيء؟
خبر ليس. No.
لا إله إلا الله.
I don't know.
نجيب ما إعراب شيء؟ منى ما إعراب شيء؟ I know it says شيء but I should say شيء but anyways المهم.
خبر ليس هذا اسم نصب.
ها؟
اسمه ليس.
اسم ليس زدي كلمة. اسم ليس نعم اسم ليس مؤخر. اسم ليس مرفوع وخبر ليس منصوب. The اسم of ليس is مرفوع right from كان وأخواتها right so it's the اسم of ليس and it's مؤخر. It's the noun of ليس and it's been delayed because of قبله right. Usually when the مبتدا or the ism of something like this is nakira, it gets pushed back, right? Especially when the khabar is a shibh al-jumla, right? So إذ ليس قبله شيء. So he says كلا بمعنى حقا. The meaning. Do you guys understand? Yes. Yes. Arab. Yes.
Yeah. When we come across situations like this, right? Could you like actually put like how would you rearrange it so that the khabar actually comes up front? Like, is there a way to?
The khabar is up front.
No, I'm sorry. The ism. The ism.
إذ ليس شيء قبله. إذ ليس شيء قبله.
إذ ليس
شيء قبله.
Oh.
لكن الأصل إذا كانت اسم ليس أو إذا كانت المبتدأ منكرة يعني بدون ألف لام غير معرفا right فإنه يؤخر خاصة إذا كانت الخبر شبه جملة.
So would you
إذ ليس شيء قبله.
Would you say إذ ليس الشيء قبله or
yeah but then that's why but that's what I'm saying like technically yes if it was الشيء then it would come first.
Okay.
So إذ ليس قبله شيء. He says كلا. The meaning of كلا over here is حقا, right? But then he tries to tell you that the meaning of كلا is not always حقا. Okay? He's trying to tell you the meaning of كلا is not always حقا. That's why he says إذ ليس قبله شيء, because there's nothing before it, right? Meaning that if there was something before it, then the meaning could be something else. That's why he says إذ ليس قبله شيء. He wasn't bored, right? He mentioned specifically إذ ليس قبله شيء, that if something had come before it, because you have to understand the opposite, right? If something was before it, it could have had a different meaning. But over here it means حقا, for a fact, and what he uses to prove that is that there's nothing that preceded it. If I said,
so what is it going back to? What is it talking about?
if I said man doesn't transgress, if I said man doesn't transgress, okay? And then you said kalla, man does transgress, right? The meaning is a little different here. It's like no, rather he does. Correct? You get it? Yes, it makes sense? But if the previous verse is علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم, right? And then it's كلا إن الإنسان لا يطغى. There's nothing that you have to negate before it. You get what I'm saying? But if I said man doesn't transgress, you say لا كلا, he does transgress. You're basically negating, right? You're affirming what you're saying, but you're also negating what I just said. فهمتم? Yes? But if the previous verse is علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم, right? He taught man that which he does not know. كلا إن الإنسان لا يطغى. He says كلا over here means حقا. All it's doing, it means for a fact. And he says the way I'm proving this is ليس قبله شيء. There's nothing before it. There is something before it. There's a verse before it. But meaning there's nothing that was said to bring about this response. فهمتم? Yes? Okay. Who was reading?
والإنسان هنا أبو جهل.
والإنسان هنا أبو جهل. We're not going to translate that.
والطغيان مجاوزة الحد.
والإنسان هنا والإنسان أبو جهل. والإنسان actually والإنسان هنا أبو جهل. أبو يا نجيب. Do the إعراب of أبو.
مفعول به.
مفعول به. Where's the فعل? Where's the فاعل?
The fa'il is
يا حمزة نجنا. Save us. Rescue us. أنقذنا.
خبر مرفوع بالواو لأنه من خبر مرفوع بالواو لأنه من الأسماء الخمسة.
نعم. والإنسان هنا أبو جهل. First of all, هنا is an extra word. والإنسان أبو جهل. The human being is أبو جهل. Right? أبو is خبر مرفوع بالواو لأنه من الأسماء الخمسة. The خبر is the واو. Right? Sorry. خبر مرفوع تنسيد الرفع بالواو, right? لأنه من الأسماء الخمسة, because it's from the five nouns, and the five nouns show its states through letters. فهمتم? Yes? Okay, continue.
والطغيان مجاوزة الحد في العصيان.
والطغيان مجاوزة الحد في العصيان. Allah says كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى. So he defines for you what is الطغيان. He says الطغيان is مجاوزة الحد في العصيان. What does that mean?
Exceeding the boundaries.
Yes, exceeding the boundaries in disobedience, like really transgressing a lot. Right? Continue.
أن رآه أي لأن رأى نفسه استغنى.
Nam. So this is going to the second verse. أن رآه استغنى. Right? أن رآه أي لأن رأى نفسه, because he saw himself as استغنى, free of need, self-sufficient. أي
صار ذا مال وثروة.
نعم. صار ذا مال وثروة. That he became a person of ثروة is just he's using it as a synonym for mal, because he became a person of wealth.
وقال ابن عباس في رواية أبي صالح عنه قال لما نزلت هذه الآية وسمع بها المشركون أتاه أبو جهل فقال يا محمد تزعم أنه من استغنى طغى فاجعل لنا جبال مكة ذهبا لعلنا نأخذ منها فنطغى فندع ديننا ونتبع دينك. قال فأتاه جبريل عليه السلام فقال يا محمد خيرهم في ذلك فإن شاءوا فعلنا بهم ما أرادوه فإن لم يسلموا فعلنا بهم كما فعلنا بأصحاب المائدة. فعلم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن القوم لا يقبلون ذلك فكف عنهم إبقاء عليهم.
نعم. وقال ابن عباس رضي الله عنه, he said في رواية أبي صالح, in the narration of Abu Salih عنه, قال لما نزلت هذه الآية, when this verse was revealed, وسمع بها المشركون, and the mushrikun heard of it, أتاه أبو جهل, that Abu Jahl came to him. Who's him? The Prophet ﷺ. فقال يا محمد أو محمد تزعم أنه من استغنى طغى. من يترجم لنا هذا؟ تزعم أنه من استغنى طغى. يا منى تزعم أنه من استغنى طغى.
You think the one that
You claim, you allege.
claim that the one who's self-sufficient transgresses.
نعم. You claim, O Muhammad, that أنه من استغنى, the one who sees himself free of need and self-sufficient, transgresses.
Is زعم?
Huh?
Is this تزعم from زعم?
زعم يزعم. نعم. زعم يزعم. Right? Oh, Prophet ﷺ says in a similar word, from the same root, أنا زعيم ببيت في أعلى الجنة. For example, he says, I guarantee a house, right? That one usually gets translated as a guarantee. But from the same root, أنا زعيم ببيت في أعلى الجنة, like I guarantee a house in paradise for the one who leaves argumentation. I guarantee a house in paradise for the one who beautifies his character, so on and so forth. So, يا محمد تزعم أنه من استغنى طغى. O Muhammad, you claim that the one who basically seeks self-sufficiency has indeed transgressed. So he says, so he's basically like being sarcastic, right? So he says now, فَاجْعَلْ لَنَا جِبَالَ مَكَّةَ ذَهَبًا. So make,
the mountain of
the mountains of Mecca, make them into gold, right? لَعَلَّنَا نَأْخُذُ مِنْهَا. So that we can take from them. فَنَطْغَى. So then we can transgress, right? فَنَدَعَ دِينَنَا. And then we'll leave our religion. وَنَتَّبِعَ دِينَكَ. And then we'll follow your religion. Basically, let us transgress, right? So we can, let us be self-sufficient, like we want to have enough wealth. And then we'll transgress. And the way we'll transgress is, we'll leave our religion and we'll follow your religion. فَأَتَاهُ جِبْرِيلُ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. So Jibreel came to him. Him is the Prophet ﷺ. He said, Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad, خَيِّرْهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ. خَيِّرْهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ. Who? Anyone. خَيِّرْهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ.
like choose,
خَيِّرْهُمْ.
Make them choose.
Make them choose in that. Make them choose in that. فَإِنْ شَاءُوا. If they wish, if they will, فَعَلْنَا بِهِمْ مَا أَرَادُوهُ. We will do with them what they want. Meaning we will turn the mountains into gold. فَإِنْ لَمْ يُسْلِمُوا. And then if they don't submit, meaning if they don't believe after we turn the mountains into gold, فَعَلْنَا بِهِمْ. We will do to them كَمَا فَعَلْنَا بِأَصْحَابِ الْمَائِدَةِ. We will do to them just like we did to the people of the table spread. فَعَلِمَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ أَنَّ الْقَوْمَ لَا يَقْبَلُونَ ذَلِكَ. So the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, he knew his people would not accept that. Meaning that even if they were turned into gold, they would still not accept Islam. فَكَفَّ عَنْهُمْ إِبْقَاءً عَلَيْهِمْ. فَكَفَّ عَنْهُمْ. كَفَّ means to restrain. So he restrained or abstained from them. إِبْقَاءً عَلَيْهِمْ. Like rather hoping for them to remain. Like he preferred time over showing them a miracle, because he was worried that a miracle would not lead them to believe. فهمتم؟ نعم.
Who are the people on the tablecloth?
The story of, you guys covered it in Qasas?
Oh yeah.
Not yet?
What's the last story?
Okay. The story of Isa alayhi salam.
فَكَفَّ عَنْهُمْ
Two.
إِبْقَاءً عَلَيْهِمْ.
Huh?
For that sentence, translated as
So kaffa means to abstain or to desist, right? Or to leave off. So he left off or he desisted from them, meaning he decided, he chose for them not to give them that, not for those mountains to be turned into Mecca. Ibqa'an alayhim, like ibqa means to allow something to remain. So allowing them to remain. Meaning that if he gave them this, then they would reject, or the majority of them would reject, and they would be destroyed.
But why would they be compared to Ashab al-Ma'idah? like instead of like ashabul, what was I talking about?
They asked for the table spread, and he said, what is this for the
Wait, they disbelieved after the table spread came down?
That's the whole point.
Oh, okay, so it's okay. Never mind. So I thought those were the people who actually accepted.
وقيل أن رآه استغنى بالعشاء. Okay. كما قيل قتل. Okay, so إن إلى ربك الرجعة. Read يا أحمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله قال المؤلف الحفيظ رحمه الله إن إلى ربك الرجعة.
First of all, what does إن إلى ربك الرجعة mean?
Surely to your Lord is the return.
نعم.
إن إلى ربك الرجعة أي مرجع من هذا وصفه فنجازيه.
Stop. مرجع من هذا وصفه فنجازيه. What does that mean? مرجع من هذا وصفه فنجازيه.
The returning of that who was described?
Huh?
The returning of that who was described?
Like, give me a full sentence. مرجع من هذا وصفه فنجازيه.
The returning of that who was described, that we will compensate?
Yeah. من هذا وصفه, that whoever fulfills this description, مرجع is, their return is Allah, فنجازيه, and then we will recompense him in accordance with the way he acted. Okay?
Can you say it again? Where meets this requirement? Which requirement?
لا, مرجع من هذا وصفه, the return of the one who is described like this, meaning whoever is described like this fulfills the previous descriptions, the one we just took, right? Their marji', their return is to Allah, فنجازي, and we will recompense them upon that.
Continue.
Going backwards, sorry guys.
You say that man hada wasfuhu is like
من هذا وصفه, that
the whole five?
من هذا وصفه, huh?
Could you say that whole thing is a five?
وصفه من هذا وصفه من هذا.
There's no clear fi'l in that, so.
There's no fi'l here.
Right?
There's no fi'l here. The only fi'l here is نجازي.
Okay.
Okay. يا حمزة اقرأ أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. قال المؤلف رحمه الله قوله تعالى رأيت الذي ينهى وهو أبو جهل عبدا وهو محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم فإن أبا جهل قال إن رأيت محمدا يصلي لأطاءن على عنقه قاله أبو هريرة فأنزل الله هذه الآيات تعجبا منه.
Stop. Translate. قوله تعالى أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى.
Do you see the one who prohibits my slave when he prays?
Have you seen the one who prohibits a slave when he
A
prays?
slave when he prays. قوله تعالى, and his word is the most exalted. Do you see the one who prohibits? And that is Abu Jahl. Abdan is referring to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Abu Jahl said, if I see Muhammad praying, I'll step on his neck.
I'll stomp on his neck.
I'll stomp on his neck, and this is what was told to us by Abu Hurairah.
فأنزل الله هذه الآيات تعجبا منه.
So Allah sent these verses as a
Anyone? فأنزل الله هذه الآيات تعجبا منه. So Allah revealed these verses تعجبا منه.
Surprise? Bewilderment?
Yeah, out of like amazement, like, you know, from him, like how much he had transgressed. Not only is he disbelieving, but he's preventing people from believing, or right? Skip over that.
Okay, would it be weird to say, use the word amazement? Or is that fine for now?
تعجبا for تعجبا.
It's like for Allah. Right?
Yeah, like, because I didn't want to use bewilderment, but like amazement in a reference that refers to Allah. Okay. So Allah says, كَلَّا لَإِن لَمْ يَنْتَهِ, that حقا, that if he does not desist, لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ أي لَنَأْخُذَنَّهُ بِالنَّاصِيَةِ, that we will snatch him with his nasiyah. And we said the nasiyah refers to the forelock or the forehead of a person. نَاصِيَةٍ كَاذِبَةٍ خَاطِئَةٍ. This is a forelock that is a forehead that is كَاذِبَةً, يعني كَاذِبَةً in his statements, خاطئة in his actions. Okay, so he talks about nasiyah, the usage of nasiyah. Nasiyah, right? See it at the top. وَالنَّاصِيَةُ. Yes. شان اقرأ. وَالنَّاصِيَةُ.
والناصية شعر مقدم الرأس.
Now, what does that mean?
And the forelock.
So الناصية, let's not translate. Let's go backwards. Let's not translate nasiyah. He says it is شعر مقدمة الرأس. مقدم الرأس. What does that mean?
The beginning of the head.
Yeah, it's the hair at the beginning of the head, right? It's literally, right? Continue.
وقد يعبر بها عن جملة الإنسان.
نعم. وقد يعبر بها عن جملة الإنسان. Anyone? منى? وقد يعبر عنها عن جملة الإنسان. وقد يعبر. قد. First of all, did you guys take the usage of قد? What does قد mean? Munna, what does قد mean? Possibly. Okay, so when قد is used with the فعل مضارع, right? It could mean possibly. Yeah. قد ينجح الغبي. It's possible that the stupid person passes, right? وقد يعبر عنها وقد يعبر بها عن جملة الإنسان. That is possible that it expresses. يعبر from تعبير. تعبير means expressions. So وقد يعبر بها عن جملة الإنسان. Sometimes it is used to express or used to refer to عن جملة الإنسان, the entire person. جملة الإنسان means the complete or the whole person.
كما يقال هذه ناصية مباركة إشارة إلى جميع الإنسان.
نعم. كما يقال, just like it is said, هذه ناصية مباركة. Like it could be said about a person, ناصية مباركة. Now when you say ناصية مباركة, you're not saying their forehead is blessed, right? But literally he says إشارة إلى جميع الإنسان. It's an indication to the entire human being. Continue.
وخص الناصية بالذكر على عادة العرب في من أرادوا إذلاله وإهانته أخذوا بناصيته.
نعم. وخص الناصية. وخص الناصية. خص means to. خص means to. To specify. So وخص الناصية بالذكر. The ناصية was specifically mentioned بالذكر على عادة العرب, upon the custom of the Arabs, في من أرادوا إذلاله وإهانته, because whom they ever wanted to إذلال. What's إذلال?
Humiliate.
To humiliate, right? إهانة, to
Disgrace.
disgrace, right? أخذوه أخذوا بناصيته. They would take him by his forehead, right? Okay. فهمتم the usage of الناصية over here? Okay. So he says, Allah says, كَلَّا لَإِن لَمْ يَنْتَهِ لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ. Right? So now he talks about what is نَسْفَعًا. So he says, the word is السَّفْعُ. Who was reading? Go ahead, Shayan. اقرأ.
وقال المبرد السفر الجذب بشدة.
الجذب بشدة. To pull with force. Continue.
أي لنجرن بناصيته إلى النار.
لَنَجُرَّنَّ بِنَاصِيَتِهِ إِلَى النَّارِ. That we will drag him with force by his forelock, by his forehead, to the hellfire. وقيل
السفع الضرب.
وقيل السفع الضرب. And it has been said that rather a safa is to strike.
أي
لنلطمن.
وجهه.
لنلطمن وجهه. So the second opinion says that السفع is الضرب, hitting, which means لنلطمن وجهه. We will strike his face. Similar but slightly different in meaning. Go ahead.
وكله متقارب المعنى أي يجمع عليه الضرب عند الأخذ.
Good. أحسنت. وكله متقارب المعنى. What does that mean?
All are similar.
All of it is similar in meaning. أي يجمع عليه الضرب عند الأخذ. What does that mean? يجمع عليه الضرب عند الأخذ. What's يجمع mean? Gather, right? Okay.
Around the meaning.
No, يجمع عليه. Okay, to gather. What else? To combine. To combine. يجمع عليه الضرب عند الأخذ. Meaning that it'll be a combination. When he's pulled, he's being beaten. يجمع عليه الضرب عند الأخذ. That when there's أخذ going on, when he's being snatched and dragged, يجمع عليه الضرب كذلك. It's being combined with a beating. Continue.
ثم يجر إلى جهنم.
ثم يجر إلى جهنم. Then he will be dragged to the hellfire.
ثم
Okay?
قال
So there's three things going on, he says basically. If we look at it holistically, لا نسفعا بالناصية is that he is seized or snatched, right? Or taken, right? When he's taken, he's struck. And when he's struck, then ثم يجر إلى جهنم. Then he's dragged to the hellfire. Right? He says all of this is understood in لنسفعا. فهمتم? Go ahead. This part we read.
ثم قال على البدل ناصية كاذبة خاطئة أي ناصية أبي جهل كاذبة في قولها خاطئة في فعلها.
So he says ناصية كاذبة خاطئة كاذبة, lying in his statements, خاطئة in his actions, right? Okay, جيد. This is a linguistic point. Go over.
والخاطئ معاقب مأخوذ والمخطئ غير مأخوذ.
نعم. He says والخاطئ معاقب مأخوذ. He's teaching you something linguistically, okay? He says والخاطئ, someone who described as خاطئ, is معاقب مأخوذ. What's معاقب مأخوذ? What's مأخوذ mean? Taken. Okay. Taken to what?
Punishment.
Taken to account. معاقب. عقاب, punishment. So معاقب, he's held accountable. Like what he did is deserving of punishment. Okay? والمخطئ, as for المخطئ غير مأخوذ, is not taken into account. There's a difference in the wording, right? We might in English say he made a mistake, right? But what is intended by he made a mistake?
Accidental.
Right? Accidental, he made a mistake, or he sinned. So he says والخاطئ معاقب مأخوذ والمخطئ غير مأخوذ. Okay?
So what is the difference between خاطئ and مخطئ?
So خاطئ is like linguistically he's talking about so خاطئ is someone that makes a sin and like they can be held accountable for it, right? مخطئ is a mistake, like it wasn't intended. Like for example, if I ask you a question and you get it wrong, I say أخطأتي, you made a mistake. Now you didn't intentionally answer the question wrong, right? So you are مخطئ. You're not خاطئ, but rather you're مخطئ, right? Unless I gave you the answer and then you messed up, like when there was only one question left, there was one answer, right? And you're like, at that point I could say he's خاطئة or خاطئ. You get the difference? Right.
So it's the same root letters but different word forms.
Different verb forms and also different, like used in a different sense. Right. Okay. فليدع نادية سندع الزبانية. فليدع نادية. فليدع نادية Najib means the ayah in itself. فليدع نادية.
So they call his close ones.
Let him call his close ones, right? سندع الزبانية.
We will call the angels of punishment.
We will call the angels of punishment. Okay, so we know what we're talking about. Okay. Okay, read. وروي في الخبر. Do you see it? Everyone see it? First line. وروي في الخبر. Yes. First line.
وروي في الخبر.
فاطمة, see it? اقرأي. وروي في الخبر.
وروي في الخبر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما قرأ هذه السورة وبلغ إلى قوله تعالى لنسفعا بالناصية قال أبو جهل أنا أدعو قومي حتى يمنعوا عني ربك فقال الله تعالى فليدع ناديه سندع الزبانية.
Okay, so it has been narrated in one of the narrations, the Prophet ﷺ, when he read this surah and he reached the statement of Allah, لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ, that we will snatch and seize and beat him. Abu Jahl said, أَنَا أَدْعُ قَوْمِي, I will call my people, حَتَّى يَمْنَعُوا عَنِّي رَبَّكَ, so that they can يَمْنَعُوا عَنِّي, so they can defend me. يَمْنَعُوا عَنِّي رَبَّكَ, from your Lord. فقال الله تعالى فَلْيَدْعُ نَادِيَهِ سَنَدْعُ الزَّبَانِيَةِ. So Allah revealed, let him call his people, we will call the angels of punishment. Do you see the first line towards the end? It says وَفِي الْأَخْبَارِ أَنَّ الزَّبَانِيَةَ رؤوسهم
في السماء وأرجلهم في الأرض.
This is talking about some of what basically وروي في الخبر. This is not a hadith. This is some of what has been narrated, some of what perhaps the scholars mentioned about the Zabaniya, about these angels of punishment. رؤوسهم في السماء. It's talking about the size of these angels. Like they're so big, their heads are in the skies. وأرجلهم في الأرض. And their legs are in the earth. Go ahead.
فهم يدفعون الكفار في جهنم وقيل إنهم أعظم الملائكة خلقا وأشدهم بطشا والعرب تطلق هذا الاسم على من اشتد بطشه.
No, stop. فهم يدفعون الكفار في جهنم. They will be the ones that are يدفعون over here means to push, right? They will be pushing the disbelievers into the hellfire, and it has been said إنهم أعظم الملائكة خلقا. They are the most severe they are the greatest of the angels in creation. وأشدهم بطشا, and they are the most severe of them بطشا, in striking. Right. والعرب, and the Arabs تطلق هذا الاسم, and the Arabs تطلق over here means use. Okay, they use هذا الاسم, this word الزبانية, على من اشتد بطشه, for anyone whose attack or strike or assault is extremely severe. Okay, we read this narration. We read this narration in the book, so I'm not worried about this. Okay, Fatima, you're reading كلا لا تطعه واسجد واقترب. So go ahead.
ليس الأمر على ما يظنه أبو جهل.
Stop. Perfect. He says كلا ليس الأمر على ما يظنه أبو جهل. Remember when we took the first كلا, he said بمعنى حقا إذ ليس قبله شيء. Right? Over here he says كلا أي ليس الأمر على ما يظنه أبو جهل. This كلا is different in meaning. فهمتم? Because he's saying over here كلا بمعنى ليس الأمر, the matter is not like Abu Jahl perceives. So this كلا is like rather. It's not like this. As opposed to the first كلا, when he said it means حقا, and then he said إذ ليس قبله شيء. Over here he says كلا أي ليس الأمر ما يظنه أبو جهل. Do you understand now? Yes? why he made that distinguish over there, like he added purposely إِذْ لَيْسَ قَبْلَهُ شَيْءٌ, because he would talk about a kalla later, right? And it doesn't have the same meaning, it doesn't bring about the same effect. Over here you're negating something that Abu Jahl said. Continue.
لا تطعه أي فيما دعاك إليه من ترك الصلاة.
Translate.
Do not obey.
No, do not obey him, do not follow
Do
him.
not obey him, meaning in that which he calls to in
He calls you, he calls you.
you to in leaving your prayer.
No. Continue.
واسجد أي صل لله
صلي لله.
صلي لله واقترب أي تقرب إلى الله جل ثناؤه بالطاعة والعبادة.
Wasjud is prostrate, meaning pray to Allah. Waqtarib, and draw near, meaning taqarrab ila Allah, come close to Allah. Jalla thana'uhu, that may His praise be made magnificent. Come close to Him بِالطَّاعَةِ وَالْعِبَادَةِ, by obedience and by worship. Continue.
وقيل المعنى إذا سجدت فاقترب من الله بالدعاء.
And it has been said, the meaning is إِذَا سَجَدْتَ فَاقْتَرِبْ مِنَ اللَّهِ بِالدُّعَاءِ, that when you prostrate, then draw near to Allah through supplication. There's a slight difference in meaning, okay? Yes? The first meaning was wasjud, meaning pray to Allah and come close to Him by acts of obedience and acts of worship. The second is when you prostrate, draw near to Allah by making dua in your sujood. Fahimtum? Okay? Continue.
روى عطاء عن أبي هريرة قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أقرب ما يكون العبد من ربه وأحبه إليه جبهته في الأرض ساجدا لله.
The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, أقرب ما يكون العبد من ربه, that the closest a slave can be to his Lord. وأحبه إليه, and like the most beloved he is to him. جبهته في الأرض ساجدا لله, is when his jabha, his forehead, is on the ground, prostrating to Allah. Continue.
قال علماؤنا وإنما كان ذلك لأنها نهاية العبودية والذلة ولله غاية العزة وله العزة التي لا مقدار لها.
Now, stop. He says, قال علماؤنا, this is Qurtubi speaking, he says, our scholars have said, وَإِنَّمَا كَانَ ذَلِكَ, like the reason that the closest a slave can be to his Lord is in the state of prostration, and this is the most, like this is when Allah loves His slave the most. He says, وَإِنَّمَا كَانَ ذَلِكَ, and that is because لِأَنَّهَا نِهَايَةُ الْعُبُودِيَّةِ وَذِلَّةِ. What's nihaya mean over here? Huh? Height or pinnacle, right? Because this is the pinnacle of servitude. And وَذِلَّةِ over here, like humility. This is the pinnacle of servitude and humility. وَلِلَّهِ غَايَةُ الْعِزَّةِ, and for Allah it's the pinnacle of power and honor and glory. Right? So it's this so for the slave it's the pinnacle of servitude, right? And humility, and for Allah it's the pinnacle of honor. وَلَهُ الْعِزَّةُ الَّتِي لَا مِقْدَارَ لَهُ, and to Him is the izzah, the power, the honor, the glory, the one which لَا مِقْدَارَ لَهُ, has no measure, right? Cannot be measured. Okay, go ahead. فكلما
بعدت من صفته قربت من جنته ودنوت من جواره في داره.
Okay, so who can translate this? فكلما بعدت من صفته قربت من جنته ودنوت من جواره في داره.
You'll be close to His paradise without leaving the walls of your home? Or something
No.
without leaving the walls of your home?
No. But that was very creative.
Thank you.
That was creative.
And the jewels in His home.
No, there's no jewels. Okay, so it's all tied back to the previous line. Okay, he says, why is it like that the slave is the most beloved to his Lord and this is the closest he is? Because he says this is the pinnacle of servitude and humility, right? And he says and for Allah it's the pinnacle of majesty and power and honor and glory, right? And then he says وَلَهُ الْعِزَّةُ الَّتِي لَا مِقْدَارَ لَهُ, and to him belongs the power and the honor and glory that there's nothing, no amount, right, that can measure it. Then he says فَكُلَّمَا بَعُدْتَ مِنْ صِفَتِهِ, and every time you go far away from his attributes, okay, meaning, for example, you've distanced yourself. When you prostrate, you're removing yourself from basically attributing any power, honor, and glory to yourself. Fahimtum? When you do that, you're humbling yourself and you're basically glorifying and honoring Allah, right? So فَكُلَّمَا بَعُدْتَ مِنْ صِفَتِهِ, every time you go far away from his descriptions, قَرُبْتَ مِنْ جَنَّتِهِ, you get closer to his paradise. Fahimtum? Yes? وَدَنَوْتَ مِنْ جِوَارِهِ فِي دَارِهِ, and you get close to jiwarihi, like basically being his neighbor in his abode, or being next to him in his abode. Fahimtum? So every time you go further away from his descriptions, you get closer to his paradise, and you get closer to being next to him in his abode. Yes? You guys get it now?
Meaning we distance ourselves from godly attributes, and we only...
Yes. Right. But that should not be, like in certain aspects, like don't distance yourself from like mercy or like, yeah. Yeah. But the whole, I don't know, the whole getting close to paradise without leaving your house was,
clever.
it was very clever.
So is this like saying that something that cannot be compared with it? Because laha is, what does that mean there?
The izzah that has no measure for it, or has no, you could say, comparison to it also, or that cannot like even be weighed or any understood, but even no comparison to it would work. Continue. وفي الحديث
الصحيح أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال أما الركوع فعظموا فيه الرب وأما السجود فاجتهدوا في الدعاء فإنه قمن أن يستجاب لكم.
نعم. لا. أما الركوع, so the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أما الركوع, as for the ruku' فعظموا فيه الرب, so glorify in it the Lord. وأما السجود, and as for the prostration, فاجتهدوا في الدعاء, then basically work hard, make a lot of dua in it. فإنه قمن أن يستجاب لكم, because فإنه قمن أن يستجاب لكم, because it is very likely, قمن أن يستجاب لكم, that you will be answered.
قمن is likely?
Likely, or is like most worthy of it being answered. The Prophet ﷺ said, as for ruku', glorify the Lord in it, and as for sujood, then فاجتهدوا في الدعاء, like work hard in making dua in it. فإنه قمن أن يستجاب لكم, because it is likely or most suitable or most likely that you will be answered in it. Okay, you guys might remember I told you there was a slightly different interpretation of this. أحمد اقرأ. وقال زيد بن أسلم.
وقال زيد بن أسلم أسجد أنت يا محمد مصليا واقترب أنت يا أبو جهل
أبا جهل
من النار.
نعم. Zayd ibn Aslam, he said, أسجد أنت يا محمد مصليا, that prostrate, O Muhammad, in like while you're praying. واقترب أنت يا أبا جهل من النار, and as for you, Abu Jahl, come close or draw near to the hellfire. Fahimtum? Yes.
Before this, is that poetry that you wrote?
It is. No, it's not he wrote. وَلَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ مَنْ قَالَ. Like beautifully is the one that he said. No, it's not that he wrote. واشتد هذا. Okay. بهذا انتهينا. We said your summary, your explanation of Surah Al-Shar is due?
20 for next Monday.
Next Monday, right? Ramsha already submitted it. I had to look at the calendar yesterday when I got the email. I was like, hold up, what's the date today? She scared me for a second. I was like, there's a lot of things I have to do. This is the wrong day. You guys want to stop or keep going? We've been going since like, we started at 8:40, it was 7:40 today. You guys want to break or keep going? What did you say? Break? Maryam?
Are you want to start a new book?
Yeah. No, a new Surah Al-Qadr. Al-amru ilaykum.
So yeah, break.
Break? Okay. Good. Break. Break it is.
You're not going to do the last page, right?
The fur? Sage?
Yeah.
No?
Wait, is this read down about? I don't know.
Oh, she's like sneakers. Oh, nice. Yeah, I need to get the Arabic keyboard on my desktop as well. The thing is, it's hard to find skins for anything other than MacBook.
Yeah, I was thinking that I'm gonna write it on here with the marker.
No.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know. It's gonna look like.
Yeah. It's like.
I was thinking it's for me. It's like
No.
How did you describe it, Jim? It's so like.
He's gonna keep what sticker.
What if I put tape?
It's just so janky.
It's
just so janky.
But I have to mute the stream. To mute the stream, okay? To mute the stream.
Taken.
What about stickers and shit? What about stickers?
Stickers is not cool.
Okay,
Stickers can come. But no.
What if they start to peel though a little bit?
I'm sorry to do that. You can't do it, bro.
Everybody's taken. It's good.
I'm gonna protest it.
Yeah, dude, it just look too janky.
Yeah.
No, but it's like serious. The thing is like, the only MacBooks are the ones that get it. You know, like people mass produce only for MacBooks.
They don't. I've never even searched. They don't have them for other keyboards.
Like if we can get for this keyboard, that would be great for me because that's exactly what I have. Something I think like that.
You can put these on any keyboard. They fit on all keyboards. Yeah.
Oh, the stickers, yeah.
Baby, you know what you do, babe?
I want the.
No, you know what you do.
Tell me.
You want one of these?
No, like I want a skin that I can layer on top for one because my keyboard is exactly like this.
No, man. We still have Muhammad in Medina. Buy you a keyboard like this from there. They'll have the English letters and the Arabic letters.
I just gotta tell him Dell. Give me a Dell keyboard.
It doesn't have to be Dell, to be honest. It just have to have the same plug. You see what I'm saying? If it plugs through USB, it just has to have you see what I'm saying?
Oh, I have to just basically get a keyboard from over there.
Yeah. Because they'll have, when you switch the letters, they'll have them. They'll have the letters.
Because they have it with the airplane English word. Nice.
How do you translate this? وَالْمَعْنَى أَمِينَ هَذَا النَّهِي عَنِ الصَّلَاةِ وَالْعُقُوبَةِ.
I remember seeing that phrase. Let me see it.
Did you unmute the live stream? Did you unmute the live stream?
Yeah, no, it's
still
on.
muted?
Yeah, no, it's still going.
Oh, it's still going. Sorry, go ahead.
رأيت محمد يصلي لأتمنى فلا قيل في الكلام الحذف والمعنى أمن هذا الناهي عن الصلاة المكتوبة.
So if I translate, it's going to be so the one who protects from prayer. So this preventer
I'm gonna squeeze in between you guys.
وقيل إن مسبب الكلام حذف.
Yeah, no, that's been there. I don't know what it's for.
What is it?
رأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى أمن.
Someone already used it, dude.
Like أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى. The one who, have you seen the one who prohibits a slave when he prays? أمن هذا النهي عن الصلاة. Like this one who prevents from praying, this one who prevents from praying, he feels safe from punishment.
هذا النهي عن الصلاة
أمن هذا. So literally, this one who prevents from praying, he feels safe from punishment. He says basically, this is like, he says there's some hadith, like you can understand it in this way, that there's something being omitted. Have you seen the one who prohibits a slave when he prays? This preventer of prayer feels safe from punishment.
Okay. Sure. I feel like it's very useful when you ask us to try to translate it, and then if we can do it, then you.
Yeah. So when I'm trying to cover a lot, I'll do it. But yeah. Yeah. But I'll be asking you guys as time goes on.
So Sheikh, if Qadr is honor, like or that's where we're taking it, where does power come from?
It's fun.
Qadiyya?
We'll read the different meanings of Qadr. I mean, Sharaf is one, right? Night of importance, night of greatness. But like, yeah, I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Power in a loose sense, like.
Yeah, just because it's spread like far and wide.
How it's spread like that. Night of honor, I guess, doesn't sound as,
Yeah.
Night of glory. It could work.
Yeah.
Night of glory could work, but.
Power just like heart.
Yeah. guys have next?
Was that?
What do you guys have next?
Sheikh Quran. Fiqh is after Dawood. 40 Dawood.
You guys doing 49?
Quran 50. We're starting 17 today. Proficient, clearly Allah's prescribed proficiency in all things.
Where did you guys start from?
Where did we start from?
Did you start from 1?
Yeah.
Okay. With Sheikh Mohammed?
With Sheikh Mohammed, yeah.
Okay, so you went 1 to 17, that's 4.
Today's 17. We just finished 16.
But this, I mean, that's through this semester now.
This semester, yeah, this like starting September.
And then it's fiqh.
Then it's fiqh. We're starting. We just finished the Yamn. So we're doing.
Hold it. You are doing fiqh?
We are doing fiqh is the same period, just later on.
Oh, okay, it's simultaneous.
It's simultaneous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
We start with this, and then we move on to the second part of class.
And you're doing fiqh from Quduri? Mukhtasar Quduri, sorry.
Yeah.
So you're on Tayammum.
We're starting over, wiping over the salt. Yeah.
You're looking up stickers?
Yeah.
Something's itching at me for some reason.
Anything bothering you?
Yeah, something's bothering me. I don't know what it is. I feel like there's something I'm missing, or something I gotta do, something I'm forgetting. Sheikh, I accidentally took a screenshot while I was driving.
Looks like my reaction when someone got something wrong.
Yeah.
For this weekend.
Hey, isn't this an epic picture or drawing?
It's like hard for Shrek.
From who?
From Shrek. Kid.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it does. I think this was a picture that had to do with like the Mayans or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look at this picture. That's pretty nice.
So then I went into the first year.
Yeah. I love these kind of pictures.
Where'd you find it?
What's it called? Where did I find it? Oh, Facebook. Somebody posted on Facebook. And then I screenshotted. And I even screenshotted this. I like to screenshot some posts, especially when they get big. So like this is how to show them amazing guy. Yeah. So I screenshotted this photo. This was amazing view.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah. Super epic.
The way it's short, it's not even wide. It's too long. So it's all it's tired, but it's not
Always passing out quizzes. Yeah, overall.
Are you guys going to the forum Saturday?
Inshallah.
Have a civil discussion.
Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikum assalam.
How you guys doing?
Chilling. Yeah, Sheikh, how you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
There was one of those from the back, like you guys are facing towards one. What do you guys think?
he left here.
Someone's trying to decide
Yeah, those are nice.
I was. I know. Currently, I'm what was it? Am I wrong? Oh, I'm chilling. I'm chilling. That's like how I describe myself. Like you were the last year when you were at the HH, you said that you were UCLA.
Yeah, I'm a
So do you go after?
yeah, so
Yeah.
right, so
Someone?
Yeah.
different years, yeah.
Alright, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin, amma ba'd. فأيها الطلبة الكرام قد وصلنا إلى الحديث السابع عشر. We have reached all the way until hadith number 17, Alhamdulillah. So we're making good progress, Alhamdulillah. After we're done with this, we'll do some very fun practice with some verbs. And Zadu Talibin, inshallah. Alright, go ahead and start. Ya Bismillah, Fatima, Bismillah.
عن أبي يعلى شداد بن أوس رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الله كتب الإحسان على كل شيء فإذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلة وإذا ذبحتم فأحسنوا الذبحة وليحد أحدكم شفرته وليرح ذبيحته. رواه مسلم.
نعم. From Abi Ya'la Shaddad ibn Aws radiyallahu anhu, from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, that truly Allah has prescribed, or truly Allah has written, or truly Allah has obligated ihsan, excellence, in all things. عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Right. Truly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed excellence upon all things. فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَ. So if you kill, then kill with excellence. وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ. And if you slaughter, then slaughter with excellence. وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَتَهُ. That let one of you sharpen their blade. وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. And let him spare suffering to the animal he slaughters. Alright, let's go through the grammar and the vocab. Alright, inna, what type of word is inna? حرف توكيد ونصب or حرف نصب وتوكيد. Alright, what does it do to the mubtada? It makes the mansub, makes the mubtada mansub. What does it do to the khabar? It keeps it marfu'. And what is the mubtada called? Alright, what's the ismu inna here? Lafdul jalala, Allah. Inna Allah mansubun because of inna. What's the khabar of inna? كتب الإحسان على كل شيء. What type of jumla is that? Is that a jumla ismiya, jumla fa'aliyya? Jumla fa'aliyya. Good. Kataba is the fa'il madin. What are my defaults? Good. Kataba yaktubu wal amr uktub wal masdar kitabatun. Good. Who's the fa'il of kataba? Grammatically. Good. Dhamir mustatir huwa. Right, it's the hidden dhamir huwa, but the huwa is referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the maf'ulun bihi? Al-ihsana. Good. Kulli shay'in, what type of construction? Mudaf ilayh. Good. فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ, so if you kill, right, قَتَلْتُمْ, what are my defaults? قَتَلَ يَقْتُلُ أُقْتُلْ, and the masdar? قَتْلٌ. Right, فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. أحسنوا, what type of فعل? Amr. Right, from which verb? أحسن, the مضارع. يحسن, the amr. أحسن, in the masdar. إحسان. Good. Right, القتلة. القتلة is the ism from the word قتل. It's an ism, it just means killing. Right, so if you kill, then do the killing with excellence. وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ, and if you slaughter, فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ, then slaughter with excellence. ذَبَحْتُمْ, what are my defaults? ذَبَحَ يَذْبَحُ وَالْأَمْرِ إِذْبَحْ, and the masdar ذَبْحٌ. Right, ذَبَحَ يَذْبَحُ إِذْبَحْ ذَبْحٌ. وَالْيُحِدَّ, what type of lam is that in front of yuhidda? Lam of amr. Right, so the word yuhidda is actually in which statement? What state would yuhidda be in? What does lam al-amr do to the verb? Majzoom. It is majzoom. The verb is ahadda. Right, ahadda, yuhiddu, ahdid, ihdadun, which means to sharpen. Right, ahadda, yuhiddu, ahdid, ihdadun, which means to sharpen. Who's the fa'il of yuhidda? Ahadukum. Good. And what's the maf'ulun bihi? Shafrata. Shafrata means blade, a knife, a dagger. Wal yurih. So this verb is also in what state? It's amr, because of lam wal amr, it's marzoom. And the verb is araha. Araha, yurihu, arih, irahatun, which means to give something raha. To give something what? What does raha mean? Comfort. To give something comfort, peace. So one of you should sharpen your blade and give comfort to your dhabiha, the animal that you're slaughtering.
Is it araha
yurihu? Yeah, araha yurihu. The amr is arih, and the masdar is irahatun. واضح? Alright, so the narrator of the hadith is Abu Ya'la. Alright, the narrator of this hadith is Abu Ya'la Shaddad ibn Aus al-Khazraji al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu. So Abu Ya'la Shaddad ibn Aus al-Khazraji al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu. So he is from the Ansar, and amongst the Ansar he is from the sub-tribe of the Khazraj. He's just son of Aus. Alright, he was a noble companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as one of the governors appointed by Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Meaning when Umar radiyallahu anhu became the Khalifa, he appointed Shaddad as one of his governors. He was the governor of an area known as Hims, and later when Uthman radiyallahu anhu was martyred, he stepped out of the public view and devoted himself to worship. He's amongst those companions that basically avoided all the fitan, or all the trials and tribulations that were sparked by the assassination of Uthman radiyallahu anhu. He stepped out of all that and just devoted himself to worship.
Chef, you said in Hims?
Hims.
Oh, that's it, H-I-M-S?
Mm-hmm. He was well known for his eloquence. He was a very eloquent speaker. He was known for his forbearance and his wisdom. And he passed away in Al-Quds in the year 58. And he has narrated 50 ahadith. May Allah be pleased with him. Radiyallahu anhu. Shaddad ibn Aus al-Khazraji.
Eloquence.
So this hadith is extremely important because the Prophet ﷺ, he's explaining a very significant principle within the framework of Islam. And that principle is that everything we do as human beings, right, every single thing we do as human beings should be done with perfection and excellence. So everything we engage in, everything we do, whether it's a religious affair, a non-religious affair, it should be done with perfection, should be done with excellence, with ihsan. This is a general principle that should be applied to every single aspect of one's life. Everything big and small, significant and insignificant, major and minor, should be done with ihsan. So the Prophet ﷺ, he starts the hadith by highlighting this general principle. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, he starts off the statement by highlighting this general principle that إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. That truly Allah has prescribed excellence, He has prescribed ihsan upon all things. And what that means is we as Muslims are supposed to strive for excellence and perfection in every single thing we do. Again, whether that action is big or small, whether it's important or insignificant, it is a standard that we should strive to achieve in all aspects of our lives: personal, family, social, professional, and economic. It should be applied to all of our relationships as well. Right? There can be ihsan, there should be excellence, there should be perfection in our relationships as well. And then the Prophet ﷺ mentions two examples. Right? He gives two examples of how this principle can be applied. He says, فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةِ. Right? If you kill, then kill well. وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ. And if you slaughter, then slaughter well. وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَتَهُ وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. Let each one of you sharpen their blade and let them spare suffering to the animal they slaughter. So he mentions these two examples, the example of killing and the example of slaughtering. And the unique thing about these two examples is that they are actions that people may not consider being related to ihsan. That when you think about the concept of ihsan, when you think about this concept of excellence and perfection, right, killing on the battlefield, and slaughtering one's animal are not the first things that come to your mind. Right? The first things that come to your mind are what?
Ibadat.
Ibadat, right? Worship. You're gonna be thinking about worship and different acts of devotion and obedience. But here the Prophet ﷺ is highlighting that it's not just limited to these acts of worship. It's something that is all inclusive of everything, even killing on the battlefield and even when slaughtering one's animal. This thing is tripping out. Alright, so the major lessons and benefits, obviously the major first and most important lesson from this hadith is the concept of ihsan itself. So understanding this concept of ihsan. And we covered it in the hadith of Jibreel. When Jibreel alayhi salam came in the form of a human being and asked those series of questions to the Prophet ﷺ, one of them is, Mal ihsan, or akhbirni an al-ihsan. And the Prophet ﷺ described it in a very unique way. So the word ihsan, it literally translates as perfection or goodness. Right? If I say ahsantu ilayk, it means I did something good to you. Or if you say someone did something with ihsan, it means they did it with excellence. So ihsan is this concept of doing things in the best way possible. And it is considered to be the hallmark of an upright, moral, and God-conscious believer. That a believer should strive for excellence and perfection in everything they do. It's considered to be the highest level or station a person can reach when performing an act of worship. Right? When performing any act of worship, whether it's a devotional, ritual act of worship, or anything else that we do with the right intention, so it becomes worship, it should be done with ihsan. It should be done with ihsan. It is worship or any other deed accompanied with taqwa. So any action that we do, right, any action that we do accompanied with taqwa is going to be something that's done with ihsan. Because if we are mindful, if we are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it leads towards humility, it leads towards sincerity, it leads towards concentration. And they say the state of ihsan is achieved by recognizing that Allah is watching and is aware of a person's innermost thoughts and feelings. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ says, أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. Right? It is to worship Allah as if you can see Him. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. And since you can't see Him, then recognize with certainty that He definitely sees you. So if a person goes through life with that mindset, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees every single thing that I do, it leads towards this consciousness, this awareness, this mindfulness. It leads towards this state of humility, that I'm in front of who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if I recognize I'm in front of Allah, I'm going to try to do it in the best way possible, in the best manner that I can. And they say the concept of ihsan is so important that it is fard. Right? It is an obligation for everyone to strive for excellence. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. That Allah commands justice. Right? إن الله يأمر بالعدل. Truly Allah commands justice. والإحسان. He commands what? Ihsan, perfection. Right? وإيتاء ذي القربى, generosity towards one's relatives. وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي. And He forbids what is shameful, blameworthy, and oppressive. Right? And He teaches you so that you might be reminded. Go ahead.
I was just wondering why the previous side said wajib. Is that a mistake?
Wajib and fard oftentimes are interchangeable. Right? The Hanafis are the only ones that make the distinction based off that technical thing, but fard and wajib mean the same thing, meaning you have to do it. Like similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, right, and do things with perfection. Right? Indeed, Allah loves those who do things with perfection. وَأَحْسِنُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Make sense?
So will the Hanafi say that this is fard, right? Not wajib. It's fard wajib.
That the whole distinction of fard wajib is fiqh.
Okay.
Right? If I say fard wajib means you should do it. Doesn't matter if it's like. If you want to get technical, this would be fard because it's also dalil qat'i. Allah says, "Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan." In the Quran, wa ahsinu. Right? Sighatul amr lil wujub. Make sense?
So are we saying fard like على كل شيء, and everything?
And everything you do in life should be done with excellence. Nothing is done haphazardly. Right. And they say ihsan is a comprehensive approach and attitude towards everything in life. It includes doing things with sincerity, completeness, quality, nicely, while observing proper etiquettes and manners in a timely manner. So all of that is included within ihsan. Make sense? Alright.
Yeah. I mean, this is. I know we're translating ihsan in some cases as perfection, right? But is it different than perfectionism, which is like
Striving for perfection, excellence, basically giving your best effort. Right? Perfection is the attribute that belongs to God alone. So as human beings, what we're required to do is to work towards that goal. You'll never achieve perfection, but you're constantly doing what? Working towards it, striving towards it, and that's why people translate it as excellence. Do things with excellence.
Oh shit. But sometimes, like, if you're doing something right, like, that thing may not require you to have perfection in it. Like, if you try to have perfection in it, you might waste like a bunch of time, right?
Yeah, so excellence.
In that case, like,
anything you do it with excellence.
What does that mean?
I mean, do it properly and correctly.
Okay.
Don't do anything haphazardly.
Okay.
Anything that you're doing voluntarily and consciously should be done with ihsan. Alright. Another thing that some of the fuqaha extrapolate from this hadith is this concept of animal rights in Islam. Right? There is such thing as animal rights in Islam. It approaches animal rights in a very balanced and holistic fashion. And part of that approach is that the animal should not be harmed in any way, shape, or form. Right? And that is the essence, that is the foundation, that is the basis of this whole concept of animal rights within Islam. That as human beings, we should not be a source of harm, right, to animals in any way, shape, or form. And the examples right here, right? فَلْيُحِدَّ شَفْرَتَهُ وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. That when you're slaughtering an animal, obviously that's something that's permissible, it's something you're supposed to do to consume the meat to make it halal. But when doing so, you shouldn't be torturing the animal. Make sure your blade is sharp, that the cut is what? Immediate, right? And as soon as the veins are cut, then at least it no longer feels pain, right? You're not supposed to mistreat your animals. The animals aren't supposed to be beaten and like starved and whatever, right? Even when slaughtering, they say you should not slaughter animals in front of other animals. So all of that exists. There's that famous incident of that one lady who's being punished because she did not treat her cat well. Right? And there's examples of people getting reward in paradise for giving water to a thirsty dog. So all of these things combined, the fuqaha, they use it to extrapolate and develop this whole like framework of animal rights in Islam. It's not as extreme as PETA, which puts the rights of animals as above humans. But it does exist. And again, the basis is that as human beings, we should not be harming animals in any way, shape, or form. Slaughtering them is not harming them.
What if, like, to slaughter them, there's like some harm, or like there's some there's some harm that takes place?
It would be disliked, but it wouldn't make the animal haram or make the consumption of it haram. It's definitely disliked.
Would it be better to like avoid it, like slaughtering as a whole then, or?
Yeah, if it's possible to avoid it, it would be better.
As a slaughter, like avoid the slaughtering as a whole.
No, slaughter you have. That's the only way to make the animal, the meat, permissible to consume is through slaughter.
I've heard people claim that when you bring the animal to the place of slaughtering, that it like knows that the. How would you?
It might not. I don't think animals are too. Like, at least sheep and goats aren't supposed to be too intelligent. I think you take it for a walk or something. Allahu a'lam. Na'am. Alright, one more hadith per se. حديث الثامن عشر بسم الله اقرأ يا نجيب.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال المؤلف رحمه الله عن أبي ذر جندب بن جنادة وأبي عبد الرحمن معاذ بن جبل رضي الله عنهما عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال اتق الله حيثما كنت واتبع السيئة الحسنة تمحوها وخالق الناس بخلق حسن. رواه الترمذي وقال حديث حسن وفي بعض النسخ حسن صحيح.
Good. From Abi Dhar, Jundab ibn Junada, and Abi Abd al-Rahman, Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhuma. So two companions are narrating this hadith from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who said, اتق الله حيث ما كنت. Fear Allah wherever you are. وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. And follow up a bad deed with a good deed, it will erase it. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. And deal with people with good character. Right? And deal with people with good character. رواه الترمذي. This hadith is narrated by Imam al-Tirmidhi, and he said, حديث حسن. Right? Imam Tirmidhi classified this hadith as being Hasan. You guys remember what Hadith al-Hasan is? From last year, or if you have covered it this year yet? It's a classification of Khabar al-Wahid. But what does Hasan mean? Anyone remember? Good. It's below Sahih but above Da'if. Alright, but what were the 5 conditions required for a hadith to be sahih?
Narrator must be upright.
Okay, all the narrators have to be upright. Adal. The chain has to be connected.
The narrators must be accurate.
The narrators have to be accurate.
It should be related to the Sharia, the top.
There's 2 more. Adamul illa, there's no hidden defects in the chain. And Adamul shudud, it's not, the hadith is not anomalous, meaning it doesn't contradict more authentic narrations than it. Alright, so basically there are 5 conditions required for a hadith to be classified as sahih. Al-awwal ittisalu sanad. The chain of narrators has to be connected from beginning to end. Essentially from the compiler of the book all the way until the Prophet ﷺ, the chain has to be connected. If there are any breaks in the chain anywhere, automatically the hadith becomes weak.
Weak or hasan? Weak or hasan?
Weak. If there's a break, it becomes weak. Automatically. The second is adala, that all of the narrators have to be classified as being upright. And what that means is that they are God conscious. They're known to be God conscious, practicing Muslims of good character. The third is dhabt, accurate, meaning they were known to be accurate in what they narrated. And what that means is that they would not make mistakes, they would not forget, they had a strong memory, and they preserved the hadith both in memory and in writing. They were very accurate in what they were narrating. The fourth is adamu shudud. Adamu shudud basically means it's not anomalous. That the hadith of this narrator is not contradicting the same hadith of a different narrator who's stronger than him. Meaning the wordings match, the meanings match. It's not contradictory. It's not standing alone by itself. That make sense? Like for example, if I narrate a hadith to all of you in class, all of you are considered to be now narrators of that hadith and you narrate it forward. And it happens that everybody narrates it with one wording and Najib narrates it with a different wording. So his hadith becomes what? Shadh. It's anomalous. Because I have 9 students narrating it with one way and you have 1 student narrating it another way. So most likely the 9 are correct and that one is what? Is wrong. Alright, and adamul illa means there's no hidden defect in the chain. A hidden defect is it's a defect in the chain that requires some sort of like research. So apparently it might look like the chain is connected, but in reality there's a missing link. So for example, again, all of you are my students, I narrate hadith to you, and then Ahmed goes and he narrates a hadith from me, but that he didn't hear directly from me. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then he narrates it from me, but he didn't hear it from me directly. So there's a missing what here? Link. And we don't know if that missing link is strong or weak.
This is in regards to everything except for the companions.
Yeah.
If a companion heard the other, yeah.
Exactly. Alright. So when it comes to hadith hasan, it's all the same conditions except for dhabt. In a hasan hadith, the accuracy of the narrator is slightly less. Their accuracy is slightly less.
Wait, so these 5 conditions were
Sahih.
for Sahih. Yeah.
And for hasan, it's the same conditions except for the dhabt. The accuracy of the narrator will be a bit of a lower quality. Make sense?
For the hidden defects and the breaking the chain, are those different? Because it seems
Yeah, so breaking the chain is apparent. You can tell right away. A hidden defect is like, it looks like it's connected, but when you do further research, you find out that hey, there's a missing link here.
Like, so for Hassan, all 5 except for accuracy, not as stringent.
Yes, they're not as accurate as someone whose hadith is classified as sahih. Their accuracy is of a lower level, lower degree. So Imam Tirmidhi says hadithun hasanun. This particular hadith is hasan, but وفي بعض النسخ, in some versions of his book it says hasan sahih. Now Imam Tirmidhi is unique because Imam Tirmidhi comes early on, right, in the 3rd century of Islam. And Imam Tirmidhi, Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Abu Dawood, all the authors of the 6 books, they came before hadith terminology were codified. So you know how we studied what all those definitions meant? All those definitions were established after their time. So Imam Tirmidhi had his own unique terminology. So when he says Hasan, he's not referring to the Hasan that we're talking about per se. When he says Hasanun Sahih, it's not the same thing. But we'll get to that later on. It's close enough. Alright. Grammar vocab. Ittaqi. هل هذا فعل ماض مضارع أو أمر؟ فعل الأمر, from which verb? اتقى. Good. الماضي اتقى والمضارع يتقي والأمر اتقي. And the مصدر اتقاء. Alright, اتقاء. It means fear. You can also translate it as be mindful, be conscious, be aware of Allah. حيثما. What type of word is حيثما? ظرف المكان, wherever. Right, ظرف المكان حيثما, wherever. كنت, wherever you are. وأتبع, the word أتبع, what type of verb is it? Amr. Good. From which verb? أتبع. The مضارع يتبع. الأمر أتبع and the مصدر إتباع. Right. أتبع يتبع أتبع إتباع. To follow up. So وأتبع السيئة الحسنة. Follow up a bad deed with a what?
Good deed.
With a good deed. تمحوها, it will erase it. Meaning the good deed will erase the bad deed. تمحو is فعل مضارع. It comes from the verb محا. Right, محا, the مضارع, يمحو, the أمر أمحو, and the masdar is محو. محا يمحو أمحو محو, which means to erase. محا يمحو أمحو.
With the alif مكسورة.
So محا يمحو أمحو محو, to erase.
محا يمحو أمحو.
And the masdar محو.
محو. It ends with a wow?
Yeah.
محو.
وخالق الناس. خالق is also أمر. From which verb? خالق, the مضارع. يخالق, the أمر. خالق and the masdar مفاعلة. مخالقة. To deal with people, to interact with people. بخلق حسن, with good character. واضح? Alright, so the narrators, right, there are two narrators for this hadith. The first is Abu Dhar Jundub ibn Junada radiyallahu an, and the second is Mu'adh ibn Jabal. So Jundub ibn Junada, he is more well known as Abu Dhar. Right, the companion Abu Dhar radiyallahu an, his actual name is what? Jundub ibn Junada radiyallahu an. He was one of the companions who accepted Islam very early on. He himself says that he was the 5th person to accept Islam. So Abu Dhar radiyallahu anh says, I was only the 5th person to what? Accept Islam. He was known for his honesty, so much so that he was given as an example of honesty. I mean, when people would speak about honesty, they would give him as an example. And he is the first person to greet the Prophet ﷺ with the greeting of Islam. And he's the first person that used Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah. He passed away in the year 32, and he has narrated 281 ahadith radiyallahu an. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him.
He's also known as Abu Dhar al-Ghifari.
Same person. The second narrator is Abu Abdul Rahman Mu'adh ibn Jabal Al-Ansari Al-Khazraji radiyallahu anhu. Right, Mu'adh ibn Jabal. He was the most knowledgeable of the companions when it came to the issues of the lawful and unlawful. Meaning with respect to fiqh, he was considered to be among one of the most knowledgeable companions. Right, the Prophet ﷺ himself said, the most knowledgeable of my nation with respect to halal and haram is Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu. Meaning he was a jurist, he was a faqih. He was a handsome young man known for his forbearance, his generosity and modesty. He accepted Islam as a teenager at the age of 18, and he participated in all of the expeditions with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Battle of Badr, Uhud, Tabuk and Khandaq and all of Fatih Makkah, all the battles and expeditions, he participated in them with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And because of his knowledge, the Prophet ﷺ sent him to Yemen as a governor and teacher. He was the companion that was sent to the area of Yemen as not only a governor but also as a teacher. And he passed away in the year 18, at the young age of 34, and he has narrated 157 ahadith. Radiyallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him.
Was he assassinated?
I don't think so. He just died young, before the age of 40. Alright, so this particular hadith, like the ones before it, is also from Jawami'ul Kalim, from those concise yet comprehensive statements of the Prophet ﷺ. It's 3 lines, but the meanings behind these 3 lines are very profound, they're very deep. In this short hadith, the Prophet ﷺ presents an entire roadmap for life. Right, this particular hadith and the advice that the Prophet ﷺ is giving us is an entire roadmap on how to live our lives. And it combines between fulfilling the rights of Allah and fulfilling the rights of others. Regarding this hadith, there's a famous scholar by the name of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali rahimahullah, he wrote that this is powerful advice, bringing together the rights of Allah and the rights of His servants. So the first 2 statements, اتَّقِ اللَّهَ حَيْثُ مَا كُنْتَ and وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا, they are related to the rights of Allah. Right, taqwa, and essentially doing tawbah, seeking forgiveness. And the third has to do with the rights of others. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ has to do with how we interact and deal with others. So the Prophet ﷺ, he starts by advising, اتَّقِ اللَّهَ حَيْثُ مَا كُنْتَ. Be conscious, be mindful, be fearful, be aware of Allah wherever you are. Right? Meaning be conscious, mindful, and aware of Allah in both public and in private. Right? Be mindful and conscious of Allah both in public and in private. And oftentimes, at least the overwhelming majority of translations, whether it's a translation of the Quran or a translation of Hadith, will translate taqwa as fear. So the word taqwa is commonly translated as fear. However, this translation does not capture the true essence and meaning of the word. It's under-inclusive, because the word taqwa is something much more comprehensive than simply fear. Fear is only one aspect of it. So linguistically speaking, the word taqwa, right, lughatan, it's defined as forbearance, as fear or abstinence. It comes from the root verb waqa yaqi. Right, the word taqwa actually comes from the verb waqa yaqi, wiqaya, which means to protect yourself. It also means to prevent. To make a shield or barrier between oneself and what they fear for protection. So basically, when you have taqwa, you're making a shield that protects you from earning the anger and the wrath and the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right, in the context of the Quran and Sunnah, taqwa refers to being mindful, conscious, and aware of Allah. So taqwa is a mindset. Right? Taqwa is a mindset, it is an attitude, it's a quality, it's a characteristic of being mindful and conscious and aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being conscious and aware that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all-knowing, the all-seeing, the all-hearing, and that everything we do is being recorded. It means being aware of the fact that there is a day of judgment, and on that day a person will be held accountable for whatever they have said or done. And this consciousness, right, this awareness that Allah is the all-knowing, the all-hearing, the all-seeing, the one who is recording everything, is going to ask us about it. This consciousness, this awareness then drives our behavior. Right, this level of consciousness then drives our behavior, and it motivates us to try our best to obey all of the commandments of Allah and stay away from His prohibitions. And that in essence is the definition of taqwa. Right, the scholars, when they define the word taqwa, this is exactly how they define it. They say it is imtithalu awamirillah. It is to obey the commandments of Allah, wajtinabu nawahihi, and to stay away from His prohibitions. So that is the consequence, that is the outcome of taqwa. So the Prophet ﷺ basically is advising us to be conscious and mindful and aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times and all places, under all circumstances. We should constantly be mindful and conscious and aware of whom? Allah. Public and private. واضح? Right, the second piece of advice is وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا, that follow up a bad deed with a good deed and it will erase it. So the Prophet ﷺ is explaining a very important principle within Islam, which is that good deeds erase bad deeds. Our good deeds erase our bad deeds. Right? And this can refer to two things. Number one is that performing a good deed immediately after sinning. So let's say I sinned and immediately I recognize that I did something wrong, so I give charity right away. Or I did something wrong and I recite Quran right away. I pray 2 rak'ahs. So that good deed will erase whatever bad deed that I did. That is one plausible or correct explanation. The other is that the word hasana here, right? The word hasana here is referring to istighfar and tawbah. That as soon as you do something wrong, you should ask forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and repent, and that will erase it. That will erase the bad deed. So both meanings are perfectly fine, they're both correct. It could refer to actually engaging in a righteous deed, or it can also refer to doing istighfar and tawbah. Right? And here the Prophet ﷺ is basically clarifying something that Allah tells us in Surah Hud. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Hud that establish salah at both ends of the day and in the early hours of the night. Why? إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ, that truly good deeds erase bad deeds. Right? إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ, truly good deeds erase bad deeds. That is a reminder for the mindful. وَذَلِكَ ذِكْرَى لِلذَّاكِرِينَ. So the Prophet ﷺ very beautifully, he's saying that, look, we are supposed to be in a state of taqwa at all times. حَيْثُمَا كُنْتُ, wherever we are, publicly or privately. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that human beings aren't perfect. And there will be times where we aren't acting upon taqwa. Right? There will be times when we're not conscious, when we're not mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we make mistakes and we slip up and we mess up. So when we do that, He gives us an out. That immediately after messing up, you should do what? Tawbah, do istighfar, do a good deed, and it will erase whatever that bad deed is. Right? And then the third piece of advice is وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ, and deal with people with good manners. Right? وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ, and deal with people with good manners. So this is referring to having good character, morals, values, and ethics. Alright, character includes how a person speaks and behaves. Their conduct and behavior specifically with others. So the Prophet ﷺ is reminding us to adorn our speech and behavior with noble qualities and characteristics. That our speech and behavior should be beautified, should be embellished, should be adorned with praiseworthy qualities and characteristics like kindness and generosity and sympathy and empathy and humility, compassion, care, concern, mercy, etc.
For the going back to the concept of good deeds replace bad deeds. So would there have to be like a certain level of like equivalency between the two? Because obviously
Doesn't matter.
And is there like a certain limit as to what kinds of bad deeds this applies to?
So the majority of scholars say it's referring to minor sins, because major sins require tawbah. So all of the ahadith that you come across, a general principle, like general rule of thumb, is all the hadith we come across that talk about all of a person's sins being forgiven. That if you do such and such thing, then all your sins are forgiven. Like one prayer to the next, from one Friday to the next Friday, fasting, Ashura, and, all those things that mention that all your previous sins will be forgiven is referring to minor sins. Because major sins, a precondition for them being forgiven is actual tawbah. Make sense? Yes? Alright. Lessons and benefits. Right. The first lesson or benefit from this hadith is the importance of taqwa. Right. This hadith highlights the importance, the significance of taqwa, of God consciousness, being aware and mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is one of the greatest and most important qualities that a person is supposed to develop and nurture within themselves. It is described as a comprehensive trait that gathers all forms of good and protects one from all types of harm. It is one of the most essential aspects of a person's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and is considered to be the catalyst behind everything a person does. So the driving force, right, in addition to our iman, right, the driving force behind everything we do is our taqwa, is the fact that we are mindful and conscious of Allah. And obviously our taqwa comes from where? Iman. If you have iman, if your iman is strong and firm, then that means you're going to be a person of taqwa. And there are numerous verses of the Quran and ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ that speak about the virtue and value of taqwa. That the rewards, blessings, benefits, and virtues of taqwa are extremely profound and powerful. And the following are a few verses that highlight the power of taqwa in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Surely Allah is with those who are mindful of Him and those who are good in their deeds. Inna Allah ma'al ladina taqaw." Inna Allah ma'al ladina taqaw. Truly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those who are mindful and conscious of Him. Now when speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a very important aspect of aqidah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond time and space. He cannot be limited to time, cannot be limited to space. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't resemble human beings in any way, shape or form. Wadih? So when He says with, this is not a spatial with. It doesn't mean Allah is physically with you. It means Allah is with you in terms of what? Protection, help, aid, assistance, support. Make sense? So inna Allah ma'al ladina taqaw wal ladina hum muhsinun. Again, ihsan, and those people who do what? Ihsan. Right? God will find a way out for those who are mindful of Him, and will provide for them from an unexpected source. God will be enough for those who put their trust in Him. God achieves His purpose. God has set a due measure for everything. Right? وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever is mindful and conscious of Allah, Allah will make a way out for them. And this is extremely powerful. That if we avoid certain things that may seem beneficial to us, at least materially or even physically, but we stay away from it and we avoid it out of taqwa, يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا. Allah will do what? Allah will make a way out for you. Right? And one of the most common examples that our teachers would give of this concept, of this principle, is when it comes to your income. That if a person is offered a job, but it just so happens that that job might not be the best place to work because of it has questionable sources of income. If a person out of their taqwa, right, out of their taqwa, their God consciousness, with sincerity says that, you know what, I'm not going to take this job because I'm not comfortable with it and I fear Allah, يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا. Allah will do what? Take care of it. It will give them a way out, provide them with something better. وَيَرْزُقُّ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. And Allah will provide for that person from places they didn't even what? Think about. Right? Allah will give for them and provide them and sustain them from places they did not even imagine. Why? إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ. Allah achieves His purpose. Whatever Allah wants happens. قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. Allah has set a due measure for everything. You know, oftentimes people, they belittle the power of these things. Right? These things are very powerful, they're very profound. And oftentimes people might belittle it because it's not something concrete. It's not something that you can see and feel, but it is definitely something that you experience. That people who act based upon the standard of taqwa, they find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does what? He makes ways out for them. He takes care of them, right? He provides for them, sustains them. And the way to think about it is, do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will leave you hanging if you do something for His sake? Allah will always do what? Take care of you. Make sense? Na'am. But if you are steadfast and conscious of Allah, their scheming will not harm you in the least. God encircles everything they do. Na'am. Okay, there's several other verses. There's almost like 27, 28 verses that talk about the positive benefits and consequences of taqwa. So basically, if you have taqwa, then this happens. Alright, the second main lesson from this is the power of istighfar and tawbah. Alright, every single human being, regardless of who they are and where they're from and how practicing they may be, how committed they may be, every single human being has faults, deficiencies, and shortcomings. There will be times when people make mistakes and poor choices and have lapses in judgment. As the Prophet ﷺ told us, كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمَ خَطَّاء وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ, that every son of Adam is a profuse wrongdoer. Right? Every single human being sins a lot. وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ, but the best of those who sin a lot are those who constantly repent as well. So istighfar, it means to seek forgiveness from Allah for one's mistakes, sins, and acts of disobedience that were done knowingly or unknowingly. So istighfar literally is talabul maghfirah, seeking forgiveness min Allah, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for things we did knowingly and unknowingly. Right? For mistakes and sins and acts of disobedience we may have done knowingly or unknowingly. Right? There are numerous narrations that encourage istighfar and highlight its virtues, blessings, and rewards. The Prophet ﷺ said that I myself do istighfar over 100 times every single day. Right? In addition to that, there are several actions a person does throughout the day that serve as a means for forgiving one's minor sins. So for example, just performing wudu. If we do wudu with ihsan, if we do wudu properly and correctly with mindfulness and consciousness, it's washing away what? All your sins. Right? The hadith says that once a person makes wudu and they do it properly, they leave wudu completely purified of their sins, meaning all their minor sins. Walking to the masjid. Every step you take going to the masjid, what's being forgiven? A sin. Right? Praying forgives your sins. There's several things, several actions, daily actions throughout the day that have all our minor sins forgiven. Right? Tawbah is usually translated as repentance. Right? The word tawbah is usually translated as repentance. And tawbah is required for one's major sins to be forgiven. If we want our major sins to be forgiven, al-kaba'ir, then we have to do tawbah. It is a very powerful tool that allows a person to turn back to Allah. And linguistically, that's what the word taba means. Taba yatubu means to return. So the significance of tawbah is that you are returning to the obedience of Allah after having disobeyed Him. So when a person repents, when a person does tawbah, they are returning to the obedience of Allah from his disobedience. They're returning to Allah. And that is how some scholars define tawbah. Returning to Allah from the path of being distant to the path of nearness. In order for tawbah to be accepted, it has to meet 4 conditions. In order for tawbah to be accepted, there has to be 4 conditions. The first is remorse. The Prophet ﷺ said, "An-nadamu tawbah," that remorse is repentance. Meaning a person has to sincerely feel bad for the sin that they committed. There should be a feeling of unease. There should be a feeling of like you're being disturbed, you're anxious, you feel this remorse, you feel this regret for actually engaging in the sin. Right? And then that feeling of regret and remorse leads to the second thing, which is actually asking for forgiveness. That, oh Allah, I did such and such thing, I feel horrible, I feel terrible about it, please forgive me. The third is making a firm resolution not to do it again. That once we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, we make a commitment to ourselves, a firm commitment, that I am not going to engage in this sin again. And the fourth has to do with if it's the rights of others, that you try to make it up in some way, shape, or form. Like for example, ghiba, right? Backbiting is considered to be a major sin. So if I backbit somebody, I should feel remorse. I should, ask Allah for forgiveness. I should make a resolution to myself not to do it again, and then I need to make it up to that person. How would you make it up to a person?
Make a dua for them.
Yeah, you can make dua for them, say something good about them, or go to them and say that, if I've ever said anything about you, please forgive me. Keep it mubham, keep it general. They'll be like, yesterday I said this about you. And once a person does this, once a person does tawbah, their sin is completely wiped away. It is as if they did not even commit the sin in the first place. التائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له. The Prophet ﷺ told us, a person who does tawbah is like one who has no sin at all. Alright. And the last significant lesson is the importance of good character. Our salvation in the hereafter is dependent upon devotional acts of worship coupled with good character. And what essentially that means is fulfilling the rights of Allah and fulfilling the rights of others. If we want to get into Jannah, if we want to achieve salvation, then both of these things are required. They go together. The Prophet ﷺ himself described perfecting good character and manners as the reason why he was sent as the Prophet. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. That I have only been sent to do what? Perfect good character. We'll write it later. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have only been sent to perfect good character. So basically the Prophet ﷺ himself is saying that one of my major roles, one of my major responsibilities as a prophet and messenger is to perfect good character. I need to instill good character within people. And interestingly, all of the devotional acts of worship we have are designed to improve our character as well. So for example, Salah, inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. That if we're praying and we're praying properly and correctly, it will keep us away from fahsha, from obscene speech, obscene behavior, and munkar, from evil. Fasting creates what? Taqwa. Right? Zakah creates generosity. Hajj leads to humility. So all of the acts of worship we have in Islam, they are designed in such a way that they improve our character as well. So good character isn't simply a few manners or qualities. Rather, it is a group of praiseworthy characteristics and qualities that a person has. So for example, generosity, forbearance, forgiveness, leniency, chastity, fairness, gentleness, humility, justice, mercy, kindness, honesty, bravery. All of these things are classified as akhlaq, al-akhlaqul hasana, good character. And the Prophet ﷺ, throughout his life, he stressed the importance of having good character, both in speech and deed. The Prophet ﷺ told us, أَكْمَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِيمَانًا أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلُقًا, that the believers who have the most complete form of iman are those who have the best character. So there's a direct relationship between our iman and our akhlaq. If our iman is strong, if our iman is complete, if we have conviction, right, true conviction and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the day of judgment and reward and punishment, that's going to translate in how we speak and behave and interact with others.
Sheikh, what was the statement again?
أكمل المؤمنين إيمانا أحسنهم خلقا. The believers most complete in iman are those who have the best character. The Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked about what takes a person to Jannah, he said two things: taqwa Allah wa husnul khuluq, being mindful and conscious of Allah and having good character.
Two best things?
The two things that take a person to Jannah: taqwa and good character. And not only did the Prophet ﷺ encourage others to have good character, but he showed them how to practically, because he had the best character himself. Right? Anything the Prophet ﷺ said about akhlaq, he exemplified and personified in his daily life. And that is why Allah praises him in the Quran. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, that you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are on an exalted standard of character. And anything the Quran mentioned about akhlaq, the Prophet embodied it. And that is why when Aisha radiallahu anha was asked regarding the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she said, كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآنِ, that his character was the what? Quran. Meaning he was a walking, talking Quran. Literally. Na'am. Any questions on these two hadiths for today?
Of the four conditions of tawbah, under remorse, would it be that you leave what's in the past to the past?
Yeah, part of tawbah is moving on, right? And that goes to having husnul dhan billah, that once you do tawbah, you should feel confident that Allah has done what? Forgiven it. You should be able to move on, and that's one of the powerful effects of tawbah. If a person does tawbah with sincerity, it allows them to move on and not get caught up in the past. Because getting caught up in the past can lead towards anxiety and depression, and can lead you down a dark path, and you start thinking that you're not worthy of what? Forgiveness and mercy and reformation. That is not the case. Once you do tawbah, you with yourself, that you're convinced with certainty that, you know what? I did it, I was sincere, Allah has what? Accepted it.
For example, if someone does an act that's punishable, so like he stole something, and so instead of his hands getting cut, like why, how can he do tawbah if the punishment is there?
That punishment is a legal punishment. It has nothing to do with the akhirah. So that has a whole legal procedure and methodology behind it. So if they do it, no one knows about it, that's between them and whom? Allah. They can do tawbah, they can give back the stolen item somehow, give it away in charity, something. Those hudud punishment are legal matters. Between them and Allah, the book is clear, as long as they do tawbah.
Ihsan by definition is that you can't see Allah, so you know that He's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
So ihsan can't be done for unlawful matters.
Right.
By definition.
You can't have ihsan and sin and disobedience. Na'am. Bismillah. Quduri? We'll take a short break before we start. 4-minute break and we'll start Quduri.
No, I'm going to
That's not that's yours, but
Mine's healthy. Mine's healthy.
Alright, Bismillah. So Alhamdulillah, we are done with Babu Tayammum. Right, we finished the chapter on At-Tayammum. So inshallah, all of us so far, we are experts on wudu, and we're experts on ghusl, in all of the rulings related to water, and now Tayammum as well, inshallah. Alright, the next chapter that the author brings, Imam Khuduri rahimahullah, is Babul Mashi ala al-Khuffayn. Right, the chapter on wiping over leather socks. Right, Babul Mashi ala al-Khuffayn, the chapter on wiping over leather socks. Alright, so when we look towards the Quran, right, when we look towards the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, specifically the ayah of wudu, right, the verse where wudu is made obligatory, what is the ruling for feet? Is to wash them. Right? When you look towards the Quran in Surah Al-Ma'idah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains to us how to perform wudu, the ruling for feet is washing them up to and including the what? Ankles. Right? In order to move away from a ruling of the Quran, right? In order to move away from a ruling of the Quran or alter a ruling of the Quran, you need some sort of dalil, you need some sort of evidence or proof that's equal or greater to it in terms of strength. So the verse of the Quran which tells us to wash our feet up to and including the ankles is the dalil qat'i. It's qat'i al-thubut, qat'i al-dalala. Qat'i al-thubut meaning authenticity wise or what? 100% sure that it's accurate and from Allah. In terms of meaning, it's not open to interpretation. So now in order to move away from this ruling of the Quran, you need another dalil that's what? Qat'i as well. You need another dalil that's qat'i. So when it comes to wiping over leather socks specifically, the dalil is qat'i because the hadith is mutawatir. Right, the hadith that talks about the Prophet ﷺ wiping over his khuf, specifically khuf, they have reached the level of tawatur because it has been narrated by more than 70 companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Right, more than 70 Sahaba, more than 70 companions of the Prophet ﷺ narrated that they either saw the Prophet ﷺ wiping over his khuffayn, or that the Prophet ﷺ did wipe over his what? His khuffayn. So for example, Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah, famous tabi'i, he says, 70 people from among the companions narrated to me that they saw the Prophet ﷺ wiping over his khufs, wiping over his leather socks. Right? Al-Mughirah ibn Shu'bah radiyallahu anhu, for example, narrated that the Prophet ﷺ went to answer the call of nature. So he followed him with a container of water, and he poured the water for the Prophet ﷺ to make wudu. So the Prophet made wudu and he wiped over his khuffayn. فَتَوَضَّأَ وَمَسَحَ عَلَى خُفَّيْهِ. So all of the ahadith, there's several that talk about the Prophet ﷺ wiping over his khuffayn. They reach the level of tawatur. And you studied last year the al-hadith al-mutawatir qat'i. It's qat'i thubut because we're absolutely 100% certain it's coming from whom? The Prophet ﷺ. And this particular hadith is also qat'i al-dalala because it's not open to what? Interpretation. Alright, so wiping over footgear, right? Wiping over leather socks is a dispensation given to us by the Sharia in order to make things easier. Right? This is a dispensation, this is a rukhsah. It's a dispensation, it's a replacement, it's a substitute for the actual ruling of washing one's feet in order to facilitate ease. That is the objective, that is the purpose behind it. And it is an established practice of the Prophet ﷺ. It's an act that takes the place of washing your feet, but with certain conditions. Right? There are certain rules and regulations associated with it. Alright, so first and foremost, we're going to understand what exactly is a khuf. So when we look towards the narrations, the ahadith and the different riwayat that mention that the Prophet ﷺ wiped over footgear, we find two different words being used. One word that's used is the word al-khuf. Al-khuf is a leather sock. That is exactly what a khuf is. And the second is al-jawrab. Al-jawrab is any other sock made out of different materials, whether it's cotton, whether it's wool, whether it's a blend, whatever it may be. So a regular sock that's made out of any other material than leather is called a jawrab. So the ahadith that talk about khuf are mutawatir. The hadith that talk about jawrab or khabarun, wahid. And that is one of the reasons why the ahnaf say that you cannot wipe over a jawrab, but you can wipe over a what? A khuf. Make sense?
And the jawrab, what was it? What did you say? There's one khabar only?
It's khabar al-wahid, meaning it's not mutawatir. Or meaning it has not reached level of tawatur, meaning it's not narrated by so many companions that it's impossible for them to have agreed upon a lie intentionally or unintentionally. Make sense? So khabar al-wahid, although it might be qat'i dalala, it's dhanni thubut. So in terms of strength, it's not as strong as the what? As the verse of the Quran. So because of that, it cannot alter, it cannot change the hukam, the ruling that's mentioned in the Quran. That makes sense? Alright.
What?
Dhanniyud thubut. Authenticity. It's dhanni, it's speculative. Like we're fairly certain, but it's not 100%. As opposed to mutawatir, which is what? 100%. So there's agreement amongst all four schools of thought. Right? All of the madhahib, all of the a'imma arba'a, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Ash-Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, that you can wipe over khuffain. Everyone agrees. But there is a disagreement then, there's ikhtilaf upon wiping over al-jawrabain. There's ikhtilaf amongst the fuqaha regarding wiping over socks that are made out of cotton or wool or any other material other than leather. Make sense? Alright, now all four madhahib say it's permissible but with certain conditions. That you can wipe over a jawrab as long as it fulfills certain conditions. And all of these conditions basically revolve around the jawrab being so thick that it's in the same hukum, it's in the same ruling as a what? A khuf. Right? And then the fuqaha amongst the madahib, they came up with different conditions or different criteria for the thickness of the sock. So the Hanafis specifically, we say there are 6 conditions. That if your sock meets these 6 conditions, then you can just wipe over it, no problem.
Good question. For the jawrab, all 4 schools say it's a kipper with conditions.
With conditions.
And then right now, when you said sock, did you mean
jawrab?
Or
Jawrab. As long as the jawrab meets 6 conditions, then you can wipe over it, no problem. According to the Hanafis. Right. Number 1, the material is thick. The material is thick like wool. And because of their thickness, the sock is not see-through. Meaning the sock is so thick that you cannot see your skin from underneath it.
Is that number 2?
Second, number 2. Right. Number 1, it's thick material. Number 2, it's so thick that you cannot see your what? You cannot see the skin of your foot from beneath the sock. Number 3, it completely covers the foot up to and including the ankle. So the entire foot has to be covered by the sock, including the ankle. Number 4, the socks are so thick that you can walk a fair distance without them ripping. Right? The socks are so thick that you can walk a fair distance in those socks without them ripping or getting holes in them. And that fair distance, according to the fuqaha, at least the Hanafis, is about 3.5 miles. Right? You can walk about 3.5 miles in those socks without them ripping.
Is this a Shar'i mile?
No, this is actual miles. And the last condition, I said 6, there's 5. 5 conditions. The 5th is that when you wipe them, you cannot feel the water on your feet. Right? When you wipe over your sock, and remember wiping is what? Passing a wet hand over the surface of the sock. If you do so and you don't feel water, that means they're thick enough. If you feel the water on your foot, that means they're not thick enough. So according to the Hanafis, the fuqaha, they say if your sock fulfills these 5 conditions, then it's perfectly fine to wipe over them because they're in the same meaning as a what? As a khuf. Right? The other madahib, the Shafi'is, they also have what? Conditions. The Malikis also have conditions. The Malikis are almost, or I think they're even more strict than us on this issue. They also say only they also say leather socks. The Hanabila are the most lenient in this. Right? The Hanabila, specifically the later day Hanabila, they say you can wipe over any sock. It doesn't matter if it's thick or not thick, you can wipe over it. And that was the position of later day Hanabila like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. Right? That was also the opinion of Ibn Hazm from the Zahiri school of thought. Because they just went off of the hadith that the Prophet wiped over his jawrabain. His jawrab means what? Sock.
Wasn't another condition about it like remaining up?
Yeah, that's a
It's a given, yani?
If it's covering your ankle, it's a given.
Oh, okay.
So I think the main point of wiping over your socks is to facilitate ease for the person. Then wouldn't that mean that, in a sense, it would be easier to wipe on your non-leather socks as well, right? That would be easy for you.
So an important thing we're going to learn in fiqh is that there's hikmah behind things and there's illah. Right? Hikmah means the wisdom. The wisdom is never the basis of a ruling. Because the wisdom could be there and it could not what? Could not be there. But the illah is the effective cause, what makes it permissible. So the principle of the fuqaha says that al-ahkam taduru ala al-ilm. Rulings revolve around their effective causes, la ala al-hikam, not upon their wisdoms. Right? So for example, the most practical example that most fuqaha give to clarify this is that at an intersection there's a signal. Right? Green means you can go, red means you gotta stop. So the illah, the effective cause of going and stopping is the green light and the red light. The hikmah behind it is to avoid what? Accidents. Right? It could be that I break the red light and there's no accident, but I still did something illegal. I'll still get a ticket for it, even though there's no what? So sometimes the wisdom will be there, sometimes the wisdom won't be there. But the illah is what? Always there. The illah is always there. So when it comes to wiping over socks, they say that the hikmah, it was meant to facilitate ease. But the actual illah is that you wear the sock in a certain way in a certain condition.
So, for the fourth condition, do we actually have to walk 3.5 miles in our socks, or is there a different way to test it?
Some people tested it. You can test it out. But basically, you're fairly certain that if you walk on normal terrain, it's not going to tear. It's thick enough that it won't tear.
Or it has to be like really like stony and...
No, normal terrain.
Okay.
Normal.
Like cactus and cacti.
Normal terrain.
So you could wear shoes that are ankle length and then do masah.
So no one ever said that you could do mas on shoes. None of the fuqaha. You could do mas on footgear, which is like your socks, but not on your shoes.
None of them.
No one says you can do it on your shoes.
Okay, good.
Why?
You want to start one?
No. Because I've come across people.
No one says it's allowed.
Yeah.
It's most of the form of that.
No one says not. No one says it's allowed.
To wipe over
shoes. Footgear is in socks, shoes.
Rollerblades.
Would it still be preferred to just take off our socks and?
No, if the concession is to establish sunnah, you can act upon it. Okay. No worries. As long as the sock meets those conditions, it's perfectly fine.
Number 1 and 2, they're connected.
All of them are connected.
Well, all of them are connected, but like
all the conditions basically go back to the sock being thick. The rest of them just clarify what level of thickness.
Like what? How? material thick like wool? If it's cotton, how do we know if it's thick?
Like if you have thick cotton socks, they're most likely going to fulfill the conditions.
So you can continue.
Like dress socks is a no.
So even if the shoe is like uninterrupted, goes up above your ankle, you still count.
Still can't.
So how do the fuqaha define shoes?
How do they define shoes? I don't know, something that has a sole.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, the hadith that give concession is wiping over jawrab and khuf. There's no hadith and there's no instance where the Prophet only wiped over his shoes, his na'alayn. And the hadith that says masah ala na'alayn, it means that he wiped over his sock, and while wiping over sock, wiped over his na'al as well, because the na'alayn was what? It was a sandal. It was a chappal. Makes sense?
In the condition of cannot see the skin, is it like in general you cannot see the color of the skin, or like there's like a tiny spot you can see a little bit of skin?
In general.
It's like those super thin socks which you can see the skin. Right?
Yeah. Like dress socks are
No.
out of the question. At least for Hanafis.
Unless they're thick.
Unless they're really thick. But most dress socks are thin. نعم. Alright, نقرأ في الكتاب إن شاء الله. بسم الله. وعاد ابدأ يا أحمد.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. قال المؤلف رحمه الله: باب المسح على الخفين. المسح على الخفين جائز بالسنة من كل حدث موجب للوضوء إذا لبس الخفين على طهارة ثم أحدث، فإن كان مقيما مسح يوما وليلا، وإن كان مسافرا مسح 3 أيام ولياليها، وابتداؤها عقيب الحدث.
Good. So Imam Quduri says باب المسح على الخفين, the chapter on wiping over leather socks. He says المسح على الخفين جائز من كل حدث موجب للوضوء. Right, wiping over leather socks is permissible. المسح على الخفين جائز is permissible بالسنة, through the what? Sunnah of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. من كل حدث, from every ritual impurity, موجب للوضوء, that necessitates what? Wudu. So basically he's saying that if you're wearing your leather socks and you break your wudu, you can do what? You can wipe over them. But he mentions condition number 1 now. إذا لبس الخفين على طهارة, as long as he wore his socks while he was in a state of purity. ثم أحدث, then he did what? Then he broke his wudu. Alright, so this is something that a lot of people actually don't know. That if you want to be able to wipe over your leather socks, you have to be in a state of wudu when you put them on. Make sense? And technically, basically, you can also, that if you're making wudu, say someone washed their feet first and put them on, and then did the rest of the wudu, that also works.
One more time?
Because going in order is not.
Yeah, if you don't go in order and you wash your feet first, and then you put your socks on, and then you completed your wudu, you can still wipe over your socks afterwards then. Right, so إذا لبس الخفين على طهارة, right, if he wore his leather socks while in a state of purity, ثم أحدث, then he did what? Then he broke his wudu. Alright, let's go through the grammar and vocab. So al-mashu is a masdar. It's the masdar of which verb? Masaha, yamsahu, imsah, mashun. Khuffain is the dual from which verb? Which word? Khuffun. Right, jaizun is ismul fa'il from which verb? Jaza, yajuzu. Right, min kulli hadathin mujibin. Hadathin mujibin, what type of construction is that?
Sifa.
Mawsuf and? Sifa. Mujib is the ismul fa'il from which verb? Awjaba. Right, awjaba yujibu awjib ijabun, to make something mandatory. So wiping over leather socks is permissible according to the sunnah from every ritual impurity that necessitates wudu. إذا لبس, what are my defaults?
لبس يلبس.
Good. لبس يلبس والأمر البس.
البس.
And the masdar?
لبس.
لبس or لبس. Both. Right. إذا لبس الخفين على طهارة, as long as he put the leather socks on in a state of purity. ثم أحدث, then he breaks his wudu, or he enters into a state of minor ritual impurity. Right. أحدث, what are my defaults? أحدث يحدث والأمر أحدث المصدر إحداث. Very good. أحدث يحدث أحدث إحداث. فإن كان, now he's going to mention what the time period is. How long can you wipe over your socks for? فإن كان مقيما مسح يوما وليلة. If the person is a resident, they can wipe for 1 day and night, 24 hours. Right? فإن كان مقيما, if a person is a resident, مسح يوما وليلة, they'll wipe for 1 complete day and night. وإن كان مسافرا, and if they're traveling, مسح ثلاثة أيام ولياليها, they can wipe for 3 days and 3 nights, 72 hours. Alright, so over here Imam al-Quduri rahimahullah, he's clarifying muddatul mashi. How long can a person continue to wipe over their socks for? So he mentions that according to the Hanafis, if a person is a resident, meaning they're not traveling, they're staying in their locality, then they can wipe for 24 hours. Yawman wa layla. وَإِن كَانَ مُسَافِرًا, if a person's a traveler, if they're traveling a distance of 48 miles or more, then they can wipe for how long? 3 days and 3 nights, 72 hours.
Why is it musafiran?
كان, خبر كان.
Oh, okay.
So خبر of كان.
So what the ism of kana would be?
هو.
Okay.
If he is a traveler.
The word thalatha, is it thalathatan?
ثلاثة, 1 فتحة. Because it's مضاف. أيام is the مضاف إليه. Right. مسح ثلاثة أيام ولياليها. Alright, then he mentions that, okay, we know now 24 hours, 72 hours, but when do you start counting? وَابْتِدَاؤُهَا, and the beginning of the time period, عَقِيبَ الْحَدَثِ, is after ritual impurity. Meaning, for example, if I put my socks on this morning, right? If I put my socks on this morning while I had wudu and I prayed Fajr in them, and then I broke my wudu at Dhuhr time, I start counting from when? When I broke my wudu. So after that, I have 24 hours to continue wiping. Or if I'm traveling, I have 72 hours. So aqib al-hadathi means after the wudu is broken. Make sense? Alright, so look at the grammar now. فَإِن كَانَ مُقِيمًا. Why is the word مُقِيمًا mansoob? Not ismu kana, but khabaru kana. It's the khabaru kana. Khabaru kana is always mansoob. Right? Yawman wa laylatan. Why are they mansoob? ظرف. زمان. ظرف الزمان. وإن كان مسافرا. مسافرا is mansoob now. Why?
It's the khabar of kana.
Okay, khabar of kana. Right? مسح ثلاثة أيام. Why is ثلاثة mansoob?
مسح.
مفعول به أو كسر مفعول فيه is ظرف. ظرف الزمان. Right? ابتداؤها مضاف مضاف إليه. Right? ابتداؤها مضاف مضاف إليه. Why is the word ابتداء مرفوع?
ابتداء.
Why is the word ابتداء مرفوع? مبتدأ. عقيب الحدث, after the hadath. Why is the word عقيب منصوب? ظرف. عقيب is ظرف. And it's مضاف, and the word حدث is the مضاف إليه.
So ظرف are also always منصوب.
ظروف are ظرف الزمان ظرف المكان overwhelmingly are going to be منصوب. Make sense? We're good? Alright. محل المسح. Now he's going to highlight where do you wipe. So he said, first he started off by saying that yes, you can wipe over your leather socks. Then he says for a resident 1 day, for a traveler 3 days. Now where do you wipe? نعم. والمسح. Keep going.
والمسح على الخفين على ظاهرهما خطوطا بالأصابع.
والمسح على الخفين على ظاهرهما, and wiping over the leather socks is upon their top part. So where you wipe is the top, not the bottom. خطوطا بالأصابع, making lines with your fingers.
يبتدئ من الأصابع إلى الساق.
Right, starting from the toes until the shin. So basically how you wipe is that you wipe the top of the khuf, not the bottom. Or you wipe the top of the khuf and you start from your toes and you move up towards your shin, making lines, meaning your fingers are just straight. Yeah. Make sense? Alright. والمسح على الخفين على ظاهرهما خطوطا بالأصابع يبتدئ. What are the defaults for يبتدئ? ابتدأ يبتدئ والأمر ابتدئ and the مصدر ابتداء. ابتدأ يبتدئ ابتدئ ابتداء. نعم. من الأصابع إلى الساق. Alright, now he's going to say مقدار المسح. How much needs to be wiped? So where we wipe? On the top. How much needs to be wiped?
وفرض ذلك مقداره ثلاث أصابع من أصابع اليد.
وفرض ذلك, and the obligatory amount is the quantity of 3 fingers from the fingers of the hand. So the minimum amount that needs to be wiped on top of your sock is the surface area of 3 fingers of your hand. That is the minimum amount that's required to be wiped in order for your must to be valid. That's the minimum. That's not saying that's how much you should, that's just the minimum. Make sense?
So you can see it against like
that much.
Okay.
That much has to be wiped.
Oh, like the 3 small fingers?
Oh, three biggest. 3 fingers per year.
Sheikh, it was right. من 3 أصابع.
Yeah.
من
الأصابع is غير منصرف.
Okay, so also من أصابع اليد. أصابع اليد because of التقاء ساكنين.
Can you repeat the
وفرض ذلك مقدار 3 أصابع من أصابع اليد. واضح؟
Why is أصابع منصوب?
It's actually مجرور, but it's غير منصرف. So it shows it's jar with a fatha. It's a dip toe.
But you said min أصابع. That's
So when غير منصرف becomes مضاف, it takes kasra. Sense?
So it was يبتدئ من الأصابع إلى الساق.
No, من الأصابع, because two exceptions. For غير منصرف, if it's مضاف or has alif lam, it gets a kasra.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Make sense? نعم. So we did where you need to wipe and how much you need to wipe. Now we're saying مانع المسح, things that prevent you from wiping. مانع المسح ولا يجوز
المسح على خف فيه خرق كثير يتبين منه قدر 3 أصابع الرجل.
Good. ولا يجوز المسح على خف. Wiping over a leather sock. فيه خرق كثير. That has a big hole or several small holes. يتبين منه قدر 3 أصابع الرجل. That the amount of 3 toes is exposed through it. And the hole is so big that the surface area is equivalent to at least 3 of your what? Toes. He's saying if your sock has that big of a hole in it, you can't do it. You can't wipe over it.
Your smallest toes.
Uh-huh.
When they say hole, do they mean like
Like an actual hole, like a tear.
Okay, so what if it's just like wearing out?
Like an actual hole.
Can you repeat the Arabic? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. ولا يجوز المسح على خف فيه خرق كثير يتبين منه قدر 3 أصابع الرجل.
أصابع الرجل.
مضاف إضافي. Okay, and the last line, وَإِنْ كَانَ أَقَلَّ مِنْ ذَلِكَ جَازٍ. But if the hole is smaller than that, then it's permissible. And if the hole is smaller than that, it's what? Then it is permissible.
Can you translate?
Mm-hmm. So he says that wiping over a sock is not permissible if there are several holes or one big hole through which the quantity of 3 toes are exposed through it. وَإِنْ كَانَ أَقَلَّ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. If it's less than that, جاز. Then it's permissible. نعم. نقف هنا إن شاء الله. We'll pick up from here tomorrow. There's a question online. How can you determine if your socks are able to withstand walking 3.5 miles without ripping? Experiment. You gotta go take a nice little walk.
Walk in circles, right?
Yeah, you walk in a circle.
Yeah.
For 3.5 miles. If you double up on socks to add thickness, does this also count for wiping over them? If I'm wearing, let's say, 2 pairs of socks and they're thick enough that water won't go through, technically, yeah. Should be fine.
Just thick.
What's your thing?
So the whole thing with that 3,
the amount of 3 asabi.
3 toes.
it's like 3 of your toes on your foot.
So he says asabi means fingers, right?
Okay.
Fingers of the foot meaning?
What, you missed it?
Toes.
Oh, up there? Oh, I'm sorry.
So the whole has to be like 3 big.
It's so big that 3 toes would be exposed.
So what if it's on the top?
Even if it's on the top. I mean, it's just saying that the size of the hole is that big.
Where you going, dude?
I don't know. I think it's just a Thursday then.
I hope
You
you
can?
know.
Oh, your pages are different from my pages.
So, but a person
No,
asks
that's
us a question about like
no, you have my books.
that,
Yeah,
our automatic response would be like that.
Oh, dude, let
we
me
don't
go
even really
further
say this is the
back.
head of theme. We just say that like
My God,
there's probably
I think this is what you're looking for. Handle my
I was following along on my phone, that's why I was like staring at it.
Oh, no worries.
Watching YouTube videos.
No worries. السلام
Sheikh, there's a lot of times where in the book he quotes a Shafi'i.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that just for comparison
In
purposes?
the bottom, meaning in the footnotes?
Yeah.
For comparison.
Just for comparison purposes. But not to actually drive any rulings out of it.
Just show that. That's their position, this is our position. He might mention their evidences and then our evidences.
But just strictly Shafi'i he puts?
In the
Or-
footnotes, yeah.
But like, does he ever compare with the other schools?
Very rarely.
Why is that?
I think the most common interaction was between, or at least maybe in his area, was between the Shafi'i and the
Where was he based at? In Baghdad, right?
Baghdad. Imam Qulub was Baghdad.
He was, right? Baghdad? Yes. Oh, okay. So yeah, Jews.
The Ahnaf and the Shafi'is are the furthest apart from each other, right?
In terms of
The four madhahib.
not necessarily. There's overlap. There's definitely overlap.
Our cousins are the Malikis.
Malikis are the closest.
Our cousins, you said?
Yeah.
You okay?
That's what I heard.
Sheikh Jibril says that.
It says, but
The cousins of
Hanafis.
the Hanafis
After
are
he
the.
clarifies that it's al-Maliki bin Madhab al-Haq.
After he
Yeah,
clarifies the
let's
madhab al-haq. We're like Bani Israel to him. The cousins of the believers.
Like salam.